Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. So, before we dive into today's episode, which is dissecting the latest season of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, we just had episode 3 drop, Life's a Beach. We're going to talk about all of the girls, the different dynamics, and some predictions of what I think is going to happen throughout this season. So before we do that, go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. It is a fun and easy way to support me and the show, and I would really appreciate it. And also, yeah, if you are watching live, let's have some fun in the comment section. Go ahead, let me know where you're watching from, who's your fave, what's going on. And if you're watching on the replay, be sure to comment down below. I love your thoughts. Whether you agree or disagree, all good. Just put it down below. So with that, let's go. So let's talk about the girls. Let's talk about this episode. Okay, I'm going to start with Garcelle Bouvet. I'm loving Garcelle this season, but that's not shocking. I always love Garcelle. I think she's great. I will say that my note for Garcelle last season was she showed too much of her children as sort of counterparts to herself, if that makes sense. She had a lot of deep conversations with her kids, which is great to see on the show. You want to see that, but I also wanted to see Garcelle be the woman that she is and not so much always talking about her kids. So I'm happy that Jade is, signed to LA Models. He's super hot. But I love that Garcelle, she's talking about sex and, who she's dated, from Sean Penn to Will Smith to Eddie Murphy. And the thing that I love about her also Sutton as well, because like people were like, oh, Garcelle and Sutton, they don't have storylines and blah, 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 blah. The thing about Garcelle and Sutton is that they don't need a storyline because their vibe, their personality is what makes them so appealing and what makes them so good to watch. They ask the questions that the viewer is thinking. And that is so good. Like when she's talking to Kyle and she's like, well, you're saying we can't mention Morgan's name, but like you did a sexual video with her. She was on the show last season. Like, what are you talking about? Like, let's talk about it. What's going on? So she's going to ask the questions, at the dinner table when all the girls went to the beach with Kathy and Bozema and Dorit are having some like side conversation, which is super rude. I loved how Garcelle was like, what? Like, what are you guys saying? She was like, huh? Say it louder for the whole class. And I was like, yes, girl, yes, queen, because she calls it out, but she also puts her stuff out. She just doesn't have as shady of stuff going on. And also, it was Erica Jane who, I still think it will be, but the whole like Erica Jane, Sutton, and Garcelle sort of new trio, throw in Jennifer Tilly in the mix as well. We saw shadows of that last season, but she kind of threw them under the bus when she did an interview this week and she was like, oh, Garcelle and Sutton, they don't really say what's their real lives. I want them to be more honest. It's like, Erica, you're jealous as hell. Like, stop it. You're jealous because Garcelle is booked and busy. She's acting, she's producing, she's doing the damn thing. You're jealous because Sutton and Erica even said it last night on the episode. She's like, I'm coveting my neighbor's stuff because Jennifer Tilly had like the 33K Louis Vuitton boat piece of artwork. She has all the bags, and we'll get to Jennifer Tilly because when I say she has money, honey. Like her money is good, super good. Okay. So she's jealous of the fact that Sutton gets, 350K a month from her ex-husband. And she's like, I don't get anything. Well, yeah, Erica, you don't get anything because your husband's money was blood money. It was from victims. It was from fraud. So the money that you even got from him in your marriage wasn't even your money because it wasn't his money. So why do you expect to get alimony or, separation money when it's not your money to have in the first place? You want alimony from victims? Shut the hell up, Erica, please. And I say that to say this. It's so bizarre. And rock with me and let me know what you think about this. Because there's a lot of compartmentalization that I have to do with these women. Because Erica Jane, the fraudster, is in one compartment. Erica Jane, the housewife I'm watching, is in another compartment. And I actually like that housewife version of her. I think she's down to earth. I think she's being more empathetic. How do I get empathy? That whole fake therapy scene. But I do think she's more of a vibe, especially when she's hanging out with Garcelle and Sutton and Kyle. I really like her and Kyle together too. That's a whole vibe. But then when I think about the other compartment of Erica, which is this very jealous, cold, nasty, I'll just say alleged, co-conspirator with her husband who got convicted of, stealing millions of dollars of his client's money, and she took part in that. There's also that part of her. And that part of her I want to go to jail. But the other part of her I actually enjoy watching. So there's that. So that's kind of where I'm feeling with Garcelle. I love her. I love that she is just like coming in with it. She's fun. She's a vibe. She's great to watch. She's not leaning so much on her children to give her more boost this season, which I like. She's leaning into more of her womanhood, her sexuality, not like, you know what I mean? And all of that stuff. So it's cool. Now, let's talk about Erica or Kyle versus Dorit. This is another situation where I need to compartmentalize because Bio Kyle is in one compartment where I know that everybody is like, Kyle is vile. What she did to LVP, what she did to Yolanda, what she did to her sister Kathy, her sister Kim. She stirs the pot, but she doesn't really ever share any part of her own life. I totally get that part of Vile Kyle. And I think everybody wants their pound of flesh when it comes to her. But I think that when it comes to Kyle versus Dorit, I'm personally on Kyle's side because I think Dorit is absolutely full of it. Dorit, for the last few years, has done nothing but coast. She's coasted. She's been on the chopping block almost every single season since season 7, but she skates by because there's been people that are just worse than her. Like Lisa Rinna had to go, Diana Jenkins had to go, Crystal had to go, Anna Marie had to go. So she's kind of skated by, not because of what she's giving, but because she's just more neutral than the people that had to be fired or put on pause, if that makes sense. Now, another reason why I'm on Kyle's side is because I think Dorit is so Lisa Rinna coded. I think a lot of the allegations, I think a lot of the heat, I think a lot of the attitude, I think a lot of what she's coming at Kyle with, I think she is Lisa Rinna's little, her whole tagline is, I may look like a doll, but you can't wind me up. Girl, bye, shut up, stop talking, because you're Lisa Rinna's doll. You are Lisa Rinna's mouthpiece. And then again, this is just my gut feeling, but I think that Lisa Rinna is in Dorit's ear, and I also think she's in Kyle's ear, and I think she's playing these two women against each other. I think Lisa Rinna has always had a disdain and disgust for Kyle and all the Richards sisters because I think she thinks that she made Beverly Hills what it was. She stirred the pot, she brought the drama, blah, 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 blah. But yet Kyle was the one who was protected by the producers. Kyle was the one who was the producer's favorite. And then everything that happened with Aspengate and Kathy, Lisa Rinna was really the only person who had any consequences of that. Kathy and Kyle came back to being sisters. Kyle got to stay on the show. Dorit got to stay on the show. Erica got to stay on the show. Kathy rose. It's like Queen Kathy. People love her. It wasn't the demise of Kathy Hilton that Lisa Rinna thought it was. And I think Lisa Rinna is resentful and bitter and is very pissed off that she was not able to bring down Kathy and she was not able to dethrone Kyle Richards. Because even though Kyle Richards has never been a fan favorite, she has been the HBIC because of how the show started. It was supposed to be like the Hilton sisters, the Richards sister show. She's in with the producers. So she's been an HBIC. She's been protected. She's been allowed to do what she wanted to do without any type of repercussion. Again, I'm not saying she's a fan favorite because she's not, and that plays into how much their feud is Lisa Rinna coded. So I also think that Lisa Rinna is very, like I said, she's very bitter and she's very pissed because her diabolical plan to take down Kyle and to take down Kathy pretty much blew up in her face. Because I do think that Kyle was in on it. The whole Kathy Hilton Aspengate. I think Dorit was in on it. I think Diana Jenkins was in on it. I think that Lisa Rinna was in on it. I think Erica Jane was in on it. I think they all were in on it. The whole like, let's take down Kathy. Let's attack Garcelle. Let's attack Garcelle's son. The whole bot gate, all of that stuff. I think all of them were in on it. The whole faux Fox 5 times 10. I think they all were in on it. But the only person who truly had any type of consequence was Lisa Rinna because she was the one who got fired. She can say all day long she chose to step away from the show. Girl, stop lying. Please. You got fired, in my personal opinion. Diana Jenkins obviously left the show, not asked back, but she doesn't care. She has all her blood money. Doesn't affect her. Kyle got to come back. Kathy became, America's sweetheart. Erica got to stay, Dorit got to stay, and I think she's really pissed. And you can also tell because again, you have to pay attention to what people say and how they say it. Everything that Dorit is saying sounds like it's coming from the mouth of Lisa Rinna. She's like, I don't give an F. That's very Lisa Rinna coded. Doing the whole middle finger in the confessional, that has Lisa Rinna. Like, you could really just transpose her face on top of it. The smoking in the car, smoking on camera, very Lisa Rinna coded. Calling Kyle manipulative, and she's the biggest manipulator one of it all. That sounds like Lisa Rinna coded. Now, when it comes to the dynamic, in my opinion, between Kyle and Dorit and Erica and Lisa Rinna, I think that it has always been Lisa Rinna, Erica Jane, and Dorit have had a genuine friendship. Yes, an alliance, obviously, for the show, but also a genuine friendship. And I think that they never took Kyle seriously. I think they talked about her like a dog behind her back. I think they clowned her. And I think they never took her seriously. And I think that Dorit has always thought, I'm cooler than Kyle, I'm hotter than Kyle, I'm better than Kyle, but I'm just going to pretend to be her little yes person so I can just coast on the show. I can get my Bravo check, I can get my 15 minutes of fame, I can have protection and cover, but I don't think she ever really took Kyle seriously, right? But now that the tables have turned, where everybody is being called out, Kyle included, where producers are putting everybody on notice, when Dorit's diamond is, about to be snatched out of her hand, we all heard the rumors that the producers were like, Dorit, you're going to be demoted, you're going to be fired because you're not bringing it. So you got to bring something. You know what I mean? And so I think that Dorit is kind of like I'm taking the gloves off and I'm going to tell Kyle how I really feel about her. I'm going to go all in. But I think it's coming from a place of, I never liked you, Kyle, anyway. I always thought that you were beneath me. I always thought that you were a clown. And I can't believe that now you have all this to say about me, but this whole time you were the biggest manipulator of them all. So that's why I can't rock with Dorit on this. If I thought that Dorit genuinely liked Kyle and had a genuine friendship with her, and then all of a sudden, she felt that Kyle turned her back on her and iced her out and, all this stuff, blah, 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 good friend doesn't do that, then I would be like, okay, Dorit, I can kind of see where you're coming from, where, you're feeling all of this type of way, but your friendship, quote, friendship, was always mutually beneficial, and you guys were always using each other. Kyle, I'm not saying Kyle is an innocent angel. I think Kyle, and again, the reason why I think that all the ladies, they don't take Kyle seriously. She's kind of like a joke, to be honest with you. They don't take her seriously because she's very emotionally immature. And I think the women see that, especially Sutton, especially Kathy. She's very emotionally immature. That's why she needs her yes people around her. That's why she ices people out when she feels hurt by them. Not that being emotionally immature is a mean or bad or negative or nasty thing. It just means that you haven't developed the tools to communicate in a healthy way how you feel when you are hurting. You see it happen between Kyle and Mauricio. That's why they're separated now. You see it with Kyle and her sisters. That's why they are always estranged or in a good place. You see it happen with Dorit. So I see that Kyle is a little bit more emotionally immature with things. So when she has been, and this is a thing, and again, this is another reason why I'm on Kyle's side. And trust me, I'm as shocked as you guys are because I'm actually warming up to Kyle this season. I didn't think that would happen. but I'm warming up to her a little bit. Another reason why I'm on Kyle's side is because I do think that it was Dorit who switched up in the friendship first. When she's talking about, BravoCon and, showing the text message and them not being in a good place for a couple of years and all this, that, and the third, I do think it was Dorit who switched up first. I think that at BravoCon, they keep trying to downplay that, but if you look at it, because at first I thought that Kyle was overreacting with the BravoCon thing. When Andy asked the question to Dorit, rate the Richard sisters, from your most favorite to your least favorite, and in the clip that they had previously shown, she was just taking a shot, and then Kyle kind of knocks out of her hand, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, why would Kyle be upset about that? That doesn't make any sense. Like, that doesn't matter. They're laughing. They're kikiing. But then when they showed the extended version of what happened, if I was Kyle, I would have felt the same exact way. I would have felt some type of way about Dorit, because when you watch the extended version and you get the context of the game, it's either answer the question or take a shot. Basically, answer the question or plead the fifth, right? When somebody takes a shot or pleads the fifth, it's because they don't want to be shady with their answer, but that is being shady in and of itself, right? And so when he says, rate the Richard sisters from you, who you like the most or the least, and Dorit kind of goes, and she goes to take a shot when Kyle is right next to her, that is dirty as hell. That is very dirty. Number one, Dorit knows the dynamics between Kyle and her sisters. She knows how much friction and trauma and animosity there has been between the three of them. Kyle has done her dirt. Again, I'm not saying she's perfect. I'm not saying she's an angel. She's done her dirt in that situations, but you know that dynamic. And then you want to come out your mouth and pretend and claim like you are Kyle's best friend for life. You guys are so close. Your families are together. Aunt Kyle, Uncle Mo, blah, 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 blah. But yet you shaded the hell out of her at BravoCon. When I saw the entire clip and then I understood the context of the game, that's when I was like, okay, so Kyle was right to feel some type of way, because I feel some type of way. If I'm sitting up there at BravoCon in front of all of these people and me and my sisters have a deep public beef going on that everybody knows about, and then my supposed best friend is sitting right next to me and she shades me and is like, well, I don't know who I like the best, and then goes to take a shot, I would feel some type of way too. And it's like Erica said in the episode, you felt embarrassed and you felt hurt. And she was like, yeah. And to Kyle's point, that was just one of many things. So then now it makes sense why Kyle was going out, being on the podcast and the interviews on Amazon Live, being like, well, I don't really know her like that. She exaggerated her friendship. And Kyle's like, I'm responding to how you've been treating me. And so I get it now, because before I was like, why is Kyle out here acting like I don't know you, boo boo, to Dorit, when, as we all know, they were very close. Their families were close. Their husbands were close. Their children, all of that. So to me, it just seems like Dorit is really trying to save her diamond, keep her 15 minutes of fame going, keep that little Bravo check coming in. And I think that she is finally activated enough to say to Kyle how she has always felt about her. Because I don't think Dorit has ever actually liked Kyle. I think that she used Kyle for cover, but I don't think she ever actually liked her. Whereas I do think Kyle liked Dorit, but I think that Kyle is very emotionally immature. So she needs people like a Teddy, to be around her that coddle her, that are yes people to her. And I'm not saying that's right. And I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's right to, not be able to communicate to your friends when they have an opinion that is different from yours, not being able to communicate to your friends when you feel hurt. I'm not saying that's right. But my point is, I think that the intentionality is very different. I think Kyle is just immature emotionally, whereas I think Dorit was always clowning the hell out of Kyle. And another thing that she's doing that's very Lisa Rinna coded is the whole narcissistic drama triangle that they're doing. Okay. So in this last night's episode, when they're all at the table, Dorit keeps going, well, I showed the text to Erica, and Erica said that you are manipulative too. Why aren't you mad at Erica? I talked to, Erica about BravoCon. I talked to Kathy about BravoCon, and they agreed. You're just overreacting. They didn't see anything wrong with it. That is very emotionally abusive. That is very emotionally manipulative and very, very narcissistic. So basically, and that's also gaslighting. This is textbook gaslighting, right? Where Kyle says, this thing that happened, what you said, what you did hurt me. And then for Dorit to say, no, you're crazy. You're overreacting. You're being too sensitive. Erica said you're crazy. Kathy said you're crazy. So everybody thinks you're crazy. That is textbook gaslighting, making you feel like your reality isn't reality or that your feelings are not valid. Textbook. And then the triangulation of it, which just means you're bringing in a third party to go against the person you're talking about. So instead of Dorit saying, I think this, I think that, she goes, well, Erica, well, Kathy, we all think you're crazy. That is textbook emotional manipulation, textbook triangulation. Very, very Lisa Rinna coded. Lisa Rinna used to do it all the time. Well, we were talking about this, and then I talked to Kyle, and then I talked to Erica. I talked to blah, 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 blah. So coded. On the flip side, I also think Lisa Rinna is in Kyle's ear, because Kyle always says, you said to someone that my tears about Mo were fake. In the text messages that Dorit exposed, she was like, someone told me all this stuff you were talking about me, but I don't want to say it. Someone told me all this stuff you've been saying about me. Who else would that someone be? If it were Erica, which it's clearly not, because Erica's trying her best to be sort of, Switzerland, she says to both women very clearly, I see both sides. I think you have both hurt each other. I think you're both, being extra reactive because of your situations at home. You both need to talk about it. She's trying to be very diplomatic about it. So who would that other person be? Clearly, it's not Teddy, because Teddy is up Kyle's butt all day long. It's not Kathy, because Kathy is actually really showing up for Kyle. She said that she only came back on the show to be there for Kyle. And I'm grateful that Kathy came back, because I think that Kathy is a little bit of the glue that's holding this season together. She's coming in, she's having fun, she's throwing events, she's talking to everybody. Kathy's being that girl, and she's making things flow. So I think that it's obviously not Kathy. So who does that leave? Other than Lisa Rinna, who we know likes to stir the pot. And I think Lisa Rinna is on her get back. I think she wants to take Kyle down, even though she's not even there anymore. Because it's so Lisa Rinna coded. If you can close your eyes and hear Dorit talk, you would be like, is this Lisa Rinna talking, or is this Dorit talking? It's insane. I also think it's really interesting. Let's talk a little bit about Dorit and PK, and then we'll talk about Kyle and Mauricio. I also think it's interesting that PK is coming out and being like, I got sober and I got clear and decided I didn't want to be married to you anymore. Damn, 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 damn. You know what I mean? That's yikes. That has to hurt. That really has to suck. So again, I mean, I'm on Team PK's side. I know Jeff Lewis is out here running his mouth about Dorit. He has a hard on one for Dorit. I don't know what Dorit did to him, but he does not like her. He called her a super bitch. I'm not co-signing a man calling a woman that, by the way. I'm just saying what he said on his radio show with Garcelle. He was talking about her parenting skills, how she's never with her kids, and all of that stuff. So I don't know what Dorit did to Jeff Lewis, but he is activated when it comes to her. But when it comes to Dorit and PK, what's really interesting is that I had initially thought that it would be Dorit who wanted the separation from PK, that she wanted to sort of upgrade, right? She has her new face, her new body, no tea, no shade, but she is a completely different person than when she first came on the show, and she looks good, money well spent. She looks fantastic. And I think she's like, I'm on the show. I'm the breadwinner because, as we know, PK, let's just say allegedly, has all of these bankruptcies and alleged fraud schemes and, gambling debts and who knows, failed businesses left, right, and center, living out of hotel rooms. Who knows what's going on with PK and his finances? So it seems to be the breadwinner with the Bravo check and everything, and whatever endorsements come because of that. I always thought that it would be her who wanted to separate from him. Like she would want to upgrade, younger, hotter, richer version, right? So I think it's very interesting that he is actually the one who wants to separate from her. He was the one who initiated. He went out and then got his little, boy pad apartment. He's the one who has the sober coach and is doing the work because you can tell he's like doing the work. He's very therapy coded. We need to get rid of our codependency. I'm very clear and we're not doing this and these type of boundaries. You make me feel less than, very therapy coded. So, he's doing the work in therapy. And he is the one who doesn't want to be with her. That to me is super interesting. Like, what the hell is going on behind the scenes? Like, she's giving this man hell. He was like, if we spoke to each other, if we spoke to the waiter the way we spoke to each other, we'd be kicked out of here. And she's kind of like, like, I know. How, again, behind closed doors, how toxic must she be? Where PK, who she says is an alcoholic, who he has said himself, has since gotten sober. I hope he still is and he's doing well. You know, how horrible does she have to be where he is the one who is initiating a separation from her? Wouldn't you think the person with the drinking problem, wouldn't you think the person with the bankruptcies and the gambling debts, alleged insurance scams, the failed businesses, wouldn't you think that would be the person who would be begging their spouse to stay with them? You know what I mean? But instead, he's the one who's like, "We need some space and time apart. We will always be family because you're the mother of my children. If you need something, call me, but other than that, we're not talking." Like, what the hell is actually going on behind the scenes where it is Dorit who is the one who says, "Well, I'm not gonna fight to be with someone who doesn't wanna be married to me." What the hell is really going on? Because I can't imagine a world where the guy is a full-blown alcoholic, broke as a joke, and he is the one who is saying goodbye to her? Look, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I think that I think we're seeing glimpses of the real Dorit, who, in Jeff Lewis's word, is a super bitch. I think, like Garcelle said, she is on fire, but she meant like a dumpster fire, and that she's very activated and that she's going in and doing all that stuff. I think that if Dorit was acting this way to anybody other than Kyle, I don't think that she would be getting the fan love and praise that she's getting. I think she's getting the fan love and praise for being activated and on fire only because she's going against vile Kyle. And we all want our pound of flesh from Kyle because I'm not forgetting what Kyle has done to a lot of people over the years. I'm not forgetting that. And I do think she needs to be held accountable, but she needs to be held accountable for that. That's one bucket. The bucket with Kyle versus Dorit, I think Dorit is full of it. She's absolutely full of it. She's doing the absolute most because she never liked Kyle to begin with. She's doing the absolute most because she's trying to keep her Bravo check and her diamond. And she's doing the absolute most because now, with the social media climate the way it is, she feels empowered too. And again, this is why this is Lisa Rinna coded. Once everything happened with Aspengate, there was the huge thing with, the social media collective consciousness. Vile Kyle, goodbye Kyle, Kyle needs this, this, and this. So the atmosphere, the social media climate is ripe for someone to go after Kyle. I think if it were not for those things, I don't think Dorit going after Kyle would work. And I don't think Dorit would go after Kyle. But because the social media collective are not on Kyle's side, she's never been a fan favorite, and that became very apparent over the last year or two. Dorit knows she can go after Kyle, call her manipulative, tell her to shut up, say the F word to her, go after her because the collective social media is not on Kyle's side, you know? So I think that that's why she is so activated. And I think that we're seeing the real Dorit. I think this is who she is. This is who she is. She was talking about how everyone's saying, oh, it's season 7 Dorit. We're getting the season 7 Dorit back. Exactly. I think this is who she is. I think she's very nasty. I think she's very mean. That's just how I personally feel about her. I do think she's really bitchy, and we're seeing the real her. And she knows who to go against because for the last couple years she's been up Kyle's butt because she wanted cover on the show to have protection on the show. But we saw that nastiness when she went after Garcelle. She was very nasty and very dismissive to Garcelle, to her feelings, to her whole situation. And she was being a Karen. Remember when Garcelle opened up about not feeling safe talking about her children in the group because everything that had happened with Jax and the cyber attacks and all that stuff, and how some of the women allegedly were involved in it. And Dorit was just like, my feelings are hurt because you don't trust me with your children. Like, are you crazy right now? She did the same exact emotional manipulation. Like, I'm going to make you feel really bad about talking about how hurt you are about your children. And I'm going to make it about my feelings. Like, I'm so hurt that you would even say you're hurt. Again, emotional manipulation. She's been this person. She's done this to basically everybody. The reason why now people are on her side is because she's doing it against Kyle. But if she was acting this way against Sutton, against Bozema, against Kathy, against Garcelle, I think people will feel very differently. Do you know what I mean? But the climate is ripe for her to go against Kyle because it's been hashtag vile Kyle for the last couple years, and we all want Kyle taken down a peg or two. And I agree with that, but I think it needs to be in the context of what Kyle has actually done. And I don't think that's justified in the context of Kyle versus Dorit. I think the two situations are being conflated. Take down Kyle because we're tired of her stuff versus the real issues between Dorit and Kyle. I think Dorit is full of crap. And she wants to be activated, and Lisa Rinna coded all she wants to be. And I think the fact that it is PK who wants to separate from her speaks volumes. Volumes on volumes. Okay. So here we go. Let's talk about Kyle and Mauricio. They had a very telling conversation when he came to hang out or whatever the hell he was doing. And they were talking about his new apartment and all this stuff. Now, this is the thing. I think Mauricio has checked out, obviously, of the marriage. And he's also checked out of trying to reconcile because when he was talking to PK, he said, well, I'm at the point where I'm not trying to solve anything. I'm just trying to work through it or get through it or figure out to be happy through it or some therapy speech like that, where it's like, you don't have to solve the problem. Just, work your way through it. Just go straight through some therapy speech like that. Right. So I feel like Mauricio, and he got the apartment and he's dating that girl, Nikita. I think he was reacting a lot to Kyle. And I think this is a classic case. And again, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, I don't diagnose. But I think this is a classic case of people not being able to communicate how they feel in healthy and effective ways. And we're seeing in real time how the inability to communicate can literally destroy a 27, 28 year marriage. because Kyle losing her GD mind last year, in my opinion, was not because she wanted to divorce her husband. She lost her mind because she was in crisis and did not have the tools to communicate to her husband what she actually needed from him. So she's acted out. She did the tattoos. She got mouthy with his mother at Thanksgiving or the bar mitzvah, whatever the hell whatever holiday they were doing. She got mouthy with his mother. She got the tattoos. She was, doing the absolute most with Morgan, which was basically what Kyle was doing with Morgan. Was when you break up with your boyfriend and you try to act like you've moved on. So you're posting pictures on Instagram and on TikTok with somebody new, but you're actually not with that person, but you're trying to make it look like it because you want that person to get jealous and fight for you to come back. Very childish. Again, like I said, I think that Kyle is very emotionally immature. She was acting very teenager, okay? Very, very teenager. The whole, I'm going to do a video with Morgan where I'm going to follow her on the blah, 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 blah. I'm doing all of this stuff and being, snarky with him and angry with him and snapping at him. All of that, I don't think any of that was because in her heart she wanted to divorce her husband. She just wanted his attention. It was all attention seeking behavior. She just wanted Mauricio to prioritize her, to not prioritize buying Beverly Hills on Netflix, to not prioritize Dancing with the Stars, to not prioritize the agency and everything going on, to not prioritize golfing with his friends. She wanted him to, even though they were married, she wanted him to fight for her. I think she felt some type of way when her best friend passed away. I think that she was going through her own midlife crisis, whatever that may be. That hits people certain types of ways. She was fighting with her sisters. She had social media bio Kyle backlash. And again, I'm not saying this to say that Kyle isn't accountable for her actions. Again, I'm just thinking about what's the intentionality behind the actions. So I think that all of that was just attention seeking behavior. That's why now we're, some months out, we got some therapy under our belt, some time has passed. She so clearly wants her marriage back. She so clearly has hope. She even said in the confessional, well, we'll see in 6 months. I was really hurt that he didn't get staging furniture because, that he bought the furniture that makes it a lot more permanent, all of that stuff. And so when she's talking to him, she's like, well, unlike you bought the furniture and you don't have any responsibilities over there. He hears her nagging and being annoying and being angry when what she really wants is for him to come home and for him to fight for her. But instead of saying that, because you can see when she talks about how, oh, I moved some of your stuff in the closet and the housekeeper started crying. And when she said, and I started crying too, his whole demeanor changed because he came in very defensive. His defense is laughing, joking, not saying too much, like, oh, ha, 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 yeah. Like, that's his defense mode. That's his armor up. He's like, I don't want to say too much. I don't want to set her off. I'm just going to smile and laugh and just get through it because I don't want to set her off. So he has his defenses up. But when she says, I started crying too, his whole body relaxes. Like, go back and watch that episode. The body language is what is so telling. His whole body relaxes, his face kind of softens, and he goes, really? Like, why? Almost like, you still care? Like, I thought you hated me. You still, And so I think that, and again, I don't know why these two adult people who have access to all of the best mental health facilities in the world, not in a shady way, I mean that genuinely, like therapists and couples therapists can't figure out how to communicate with each other. So now Mauricio is just like, well, whatever, I'm not going to fix it. I'm going to go do me. He's out here, like Sutton said, spraying champagne on people's boobs, doing Dance with the Stars, swapping out the photos, dating, model Nikitas and just doing him, hanging out with PK, going to Miami with the guys from not Southern Charm, but Summer House, just hanging out, doing him, blah, 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 blah. But I think that lifestyle will get old. Maybe it won't for him. Maybe he will come to his true self and be the forever bachelor he was always meant to be. Who knows? Or that, lifestyle, I think it gets very corny very quickly. You don't want to be that guy in the back of the club and everybody's like, he kind of should be home with his grandkids. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be that person where it's like you're in the club, you're in the bar, and everybody's kind of like, should grandpa be here? I'm not saying they're that old, but you know what I mean? It gets to be a little cringe. So I think once that new for him wears off, maybe it will, maybe it won't. I think he'll come back to Kyle. And I think with Kyle, I think Kyle needs to learn how she needs to work on her emotional intelligence and her communication skills. Because I think that if she was able to sit down with Mauricio and say, listen, I take accountability for how reactive I have been for the last couple of years. But this is why I was behaving this way. I felt lonely. I felt isolated. I didn't feel prioritized. I felt like you took me for granted and I was trying to find my own blah, 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 blah. And actually explain to him what was going on with her. I think he would be open to that. But for now, they're just speaking two different languages, and until they're able to talk the same language. And then she also has to stop resenting him for moving on and doing him, you know? So she has to stop resenting him. Even though she had different intentions, her actions essentially drove him away. She wanted to drive him closer, but it drove him away. So I think right now he's doing him and he's going to do him for as long as he wants. But I think in a couple of months, maybe even a couple of years, that whole bachelor lifestyle will get very corny and very cringy. And I think ultimately they'll get back together. However, I agree with Sutton. Kyle needs to kind of wake up a little bit and stop being so in denial that her marriage is different. Your marriage isn't different. It's ending in separation. That's not different. That's actually quite common. To be honest, isn't it at the point now where more marriages end in divorce than they don't? So your marriage is not different. Your marriage is quite common, sweetheart. Also with all the infidelity rumors for decades about Mauricio and you, with the questions about, the agency and all the fraud lawsuits. So your marriage and your money is not different. There have been quite also the break-ins and the insurance scams allegations. So your money and your marriage are no different, sweetheart. You're ending in separation like most marriages do, unfortunately. Your money has been put into question about fraud, like the majority of people in Bravo world and that world. So you're really no different, sweetheart. And saying that you trust him and it's all 50-50, that goes out the door. That goes out the door. So I do agree with Sutton and Garcelle and Jennifer Tilly that she needs to wake up. Sure, you can have hope, that you guys will get back together, but you also need to prepare. Get with the lawyers, know what the money is, know what the accounts are. Like Jennifer said, people could be draining accounts. He could be draining this account, putting it over here, draining this account, putting it over here, draining that account. Mauricio could be getting all of his little ducks in a row for if and when he does choose to divorce you. So you can be in la la land all you want, thinking Mauricio is going to, come back to you after dipping it and doing it with all these women in his bachelor pad. You can live in la la land and think that might happen. I actually think he's going to come back to you. I actually do. I don't think it'll be this year, but I think eventually. But don't bank on that. Get your ducks in a row, get a lawyer, and figure your stuff out. Okay? Let's talk about Erica. Erica. So Erica this season, and I'm gonna put her in the housewife compartment, and I'm gonna leave all the Tom Girardi fraud stuff at the door and just talk about her in the context of the current situation of the show. To me, I'm liking Erica. I get it. She's playing the fence when it comes to Kyle and Dorit. She's like, I'm friends with both of them. My gut, though, I actually think she's more on Kyle's side than she is on Dorit's side. I think that she placates Dorit when Dorit comes to her, but I also think that she And the reason why I say this is because of my core assumption that Dorit never liked Kyle in the first place. And I think Erica knows that because it was always Dorit, Erica, and Lisa Renna who really would have the real conversations and had the real alliance and kind of made Kyle think she was a part of the inner circle. They used Kyle. Kyle also used them. It was a mutual using. But I think that core group, and I think Erica knows that. So I think Erica is kind of like, it's kind of like when PK said to Dorit, but I don't think your issues is really PTSD. I think your issues are more just obnoxious. I think that's how Erica feels when it comes to Dorit, going after Kyle. I think Erica's kind of like, girl, like me, you, and Lisa Renna, we don't like Kyle. We talk about her like a dog. You knew what the deal was. Why are you acting like your whole heart is broken over this situation when we already know the real deal? Do you know what I mean? So that's why I think Erica is more team Kyle than team Dorit because she knows what's up and she's kind of trying to straddle that fence. Um, it is a little sickening anytime Erica tries to play victim when it comes to money. Like, oh, I don't get any money. Oh, I remember those days. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Shut up, sweetheart. You're still benefiting from blood money and victims' money. In my opinion, I'll just say my opinion. In my opinion, I think the bulk of your money is not the Bravo money. I think the bulk of your money is from the artwork, cars, designer clothes, designer handbags, jewelry, and contingency bank accounts that Tom Girardi set up for you. We know about the one with Wells Fargo, which was for $500,000. So if we know about one, then you know that there are many, many other ones. And I think that is what's funding your Vegas run, your hair, your glam, buying a Porsche, which I think is disgusting given that you claim to be oh so destitute and still wanting claim to victims' money, but yet you clearly have enough money to go out here and buy a Porsche. That's also disgusting and weird. Um, so there is that, which is like, girl, shut up. Also, I think that she still needs to stop lying, like about Tom Girardi and her separation. Like, give it up, honey. Nobody is buying that you and Tom Girardi actually ever separated. Nobody is buying that you were in this horrible, mean marriage with this man who was cheating on you and effing all these women. Nobody's buying that. Do I think he was sleeping with other women? 100%. Do I think she knew? 100%. Do I think she cared? Maybe, maybe not. I think that she knew this was what the deal was. I think she knew exactly who she married. I think she knew that as long as he is funding her life and is funding the Erica Jane Pat the Puss, that she didn't care. And that she knew he was going to go out there and do him. I don't think this was some shock to her. I don't think she felt betrayed by him. I think she knew what she signed up for. I also don't think they ever really separated because if I was in a horrible marriage with such a mean man who was sleeping with all these women behind my back and he was just so mean and cold to me, wah, 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 and we're separated and he is in a facility and he gets indicted for, and we don't have to say alleged anymore because he was convicted. But when he got indicted for the fraud charges, I'm not going to show up to the facility with a huge bottle of vodka to drown our sorrows together, which is what Erica did. I'm not going to be. And remember, don't forget, she also slipped up, admitting she was still talking to Tom every day. He was calling her from the facility that he was in. So I'm not going to be talking to this guy every single day. I'm not going to be, conspiring with his lawyers. I'm not going to be bringing a big bottle of vodka to drown our sorrows when he gets indicted. I'm not going to be doing all of that. But then out the other side of my mouth, try and play victim and act like this man was so horrible to me and he was so horrible to me and all this stuff. Like she tries to act like, give it up, Erica Jane Girardi. Number one, you're not that good of an actress. And number two, it's just a bunch of bullshit. It is a bunch of bullshit. Do I think Tom Girardi was a mean man and a fraudster and cold? Yeah. But do I think that he was that way to Erica? No. Because he gave her everything. And I'm not saying that that would excuse a person being mean and evil. Like just because somebody gives you money and buys you things does not give them permission to be abusive to you. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I think that Tom Girardi was Tom Girardi. I think, but I do think that he made allowances for Erica. The fact that he even came on a reality TV show because she wanted more fame, knowing the position it was going to put him in, shows you what the deal is, right? So I don't think he was, quote, cheating on her. I think she knew the deal. I think they probably had, threesomes and foursomes and fivesomes. I think they got real freaky deaky with it. I think that she knew he would do what he wanted to do. I don't think he was, quote, cheating on her. And I don't think he was this mean, awful man to her the way that she's trying to position it. Do I think he was a mean, evil, awful, bully bastard of a person? 100%. Ask any of his victims. 100%. But I don't think that he was like that to her. And I think that their whole separation, the timing, I don't believe in coincidence. I believe in conspiracy. The timing, all of a sudden, they're getting separated 24 hours before the LA Times breaks the news and all the news breaks about his fraud. So the entire trajectory of your marriage, you had no problem, you had no issue. You weren't talking about separating, but then all of a sudden to get ahead of it legally. And a man that you're claiming is so evil and mean and cold to you, but yet when he is in a facility, he makes sure that his other lawyer goons have, nest eggs for you and you get $500,000 from this nest egg. If we know, like I said before, if we know about that one, how many do we not know about? Because how are you affording a Porsche? How are you affording your mansion? How are you affording glam? How are you affording all the stuff you're still affording? And I don't think it's just your little Bravo check. I'm sure you make a good coin with Bravo, but you're not making enough with Bravo for obtaining the lifestyle you're still upholding. Okay? So it's absolutely ridiculous, Erica. Like, stop with the lies. Um, just stop. It was all a contingency plan, the separation, but she thinks she has to hold up this facade. You're not a victim, you're a victimizer. Shut up, Erica. Okay. Sutton strike, Sutton. Okay. I like Sutton, always have, always will. I think she's bringing it this season. Again, I don't need her to have a quote storyline. I just think she's fun and she's a vibe. She's HBIC, she's dipping it and she's doing it and she's having fun. Like always, I love watching her and Garcelle's friendship. I'm also really happy her and Kyle are back together. I like their dynamic. I also think Kathy, like Sutton said, had a lot to do with it. Because for as vile Kyle can be, and again, I'm not absolving her of her past sins. I totally get that. But I do have compassion. I do think that Kyle was in a really, really bad place. And I think Kathy saw that. And so she's like, Sutton, listen, you got to lay off my sister. She's not in a good place. We got to be there for her and help her through this. So I think Sutton, like me, is compassionate and was like, yeah. And like I said before, I don't think the women take Kyle seriously. When Kyle's crying and she's get the frog in her throat and she's running off. Look at the women. They kind of look at each other. It's like, okay, they don't take her seriously. So Sutton is there to help Kyle through everything. So for Sutton, chef's kiss. She's fun. She's great. She's a beat. She's a moment. Okay. Let's talk about Bose. Bozema the boss. Ugh, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I am not that into Bose. I said it. Don't come after me. And you know what it is? It's kind of like, I think we're not seeing the real her. I think we're seeing like she's cool, she's fun, she's a vibe, but there's something that I'm not buying. Not in a negative way, not like not in like a fraud, not in a malicious way, nothing negative, nothing fraudulent, nothing like that. None of that like that at all. I think all of her money and her accolades are clean. But I think she's not being her true self. I think that she's so used to being in, the corporate world and in spaces where she's the only woman or she's the only black person, she's the only black woman. It's giving a little bit caricature of a black person, like, oh yeah, you guys, like, oh no, you didn't, like, oh, like, oh, okay, like, call me up, drop the pin, and it's like, what? And I don't know. There's just something that I'm not connecting to with Bose. I know that her and Dorit trauma bonded at Sutton's surreal party. They talked about their marriages and their husbands and how Bose's husband passed away and they reconciled. So once he got sick, but they had been separated, and Dorit's talking about PK and being an alcoholic and the kids and da da da. So they definitely trauma bonded at the party, and now it's almost like Bose is like kind of like a pygmy with Dorit. Like if you watch the after show, she's like chucking and jive. She's like, "Yeah, Dorit, like you're right." Like, "Oh yeah," and it's like bizarre to watch. Very, 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 very bizarre to watch. Um, but I like Bozema, I do, but I just think there's something that she's not showing or she's not being or she's not expressing. Like I think there's a lot more to her that she's not showing. I think she'll have a great season though. I think everybody will like her. And I think that yeah, I think everyone will get along and I think she'll have a really good season, but I think that there's something, and maybe she doesn't even know what her true self is. There's just something about it that I'm like, I don't think I'm seeing the real you, but I don't know. There's just something that I'm not connecting with. And that's okay. That's okay. Maybe it's first year jitters, maybe it's first year nerves, maybe, as when I hope she comes back next season because I feel like she'll have a good season and I feel like she'll get along with everybody. Um but yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Bose. Hopefully as the season goes on, she'll show more of herself and she'll connect more with everything. I think that would be cool, but that's kind of where I stand with her. But I think she'll have a good season and I think people will ultimately like her because she is very agreeable. She's very agreeable. It is what it is. I don't think she'll cause too much conflict or friction. So we'll see. Okay, Kathy, love Kathy, talked about her. Jennifer Tilly, oh my God, you guys. I had talked about this the not last week, because last week was Thanksgiving, the week before that with episode 1 about Jennifer Tilly and like how much money she has. Oh my gosh. Like that Simpson money is so much money. I mean, so much money. It's not even funny. I think she probably has more money than Sutton. Hell, she might even have more money than Kathy. I don't know. But that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, and I'm living for it. I am absolutely living for it. I think she's fun. I think she's cool. I think she's empathetic. I love the vibe with her and Sutton and Garcelle. I think she's a great addition to the show. And I love that she is just, some rich, quirky Beverly Hills divorcee who is just like, I have so much money. I don't even know what to do with it. Let me just buy this Louis Vuitton boat for 35K. Let me just, splurge and have all these knickknacks and things. And she's weird and quirky and fun. And she's always wearing like a caftan. Like, I am so here for it. I'm like, Jennifer, like, can you call me, adopt me? Let's all be friends. Like, please, por favor. Love, 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 love her. Love her. Absolutely love her. I think she's a B. She's really cool, fun, quirky, and she brings a lot to the table. Um, and back to Bose for just a second. I do like Bozema. I think she has such an interesting backstory that I want more of her authentic personality. I think she's holding back a little bit. Like you kind of see it with like certain things she says, certain ways she looks, especially when she's with her assistant. I think she's holding back a little. I think she's a confessional warrior. She says a lot in the confessional, but not so much in the scene. And I think that's what I'm missing. I want her to show up more fully in the scenes. But again, she's new. It's episode 3. I'm going to hold out um, for her to get more into the game, to tap more in as she gets more comfortable with the girls, as time goes on, as the season goes on. But I do like her. I just want her to just show up a little bit more as her authentic self. If that makes sense. Because I think it's probably pretty cool. But yeah. All right, you guys, that's kind of how I feel about the women and the show. So as always, let me know what you guys think. Are you watching this season? Who's your fave? What's going on with everybody? So as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, I will drop the link in case anybody wants to come up and chat. And in the meantime, I will come and take your candy cane questions and comments. Hey, Holly says, my favorite candy. How are you? I'm good. How are you, beautiful? I said, I'm good. How are you, Holly? That's right, you guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe. Holly says, I'm good. Really excited for your live. Oh, thank you. Barbara says, yay. Hey, Barbara. Holly says, they don't need fake storylines. LOL. Exactly. Like Garcelle and Sutton, they don't need fake storylines. And they also don't need like uber messy, salacious, fraudulent, dramatic storylines either, sort of the way Erica does and Dorit does. They don't need that because their personalities and how they show up is the vibe. They don't need to be caught up in like multi-million-dollar fraud schemes in order to be relevant or fun on the show. Barbara says, I don't think Erica is a vibe, especially with her court. They keep coming up. We'll see how much of a vibe she really is. True. That's a fair point. And that's why I'm saying, like, it's hard to like compartmentalize them, because when I'm watching the show, I do want to disengage and, enjoy for what it is. But then just like you said, Barbara, I agree 100%. There's still that part of me that's just like, girl, you're a fraud. You should be in jail. You're crying over victims' money that was never yours to begin with. But yeah, I'm sitting here trying to vibe and kiki with you. So I agree with you. It's hard to balance both of those things. Holly says Erica should find a rich man who doesn't steal from victims. Maybe she won't be jealous. Bloop, that part. Barbara says, I'm on Dorit's side. Kyle's history of being disgusting and ugly is a lot longer than Dorit's. I hope Kyle gets dragged all season. Barbara, what you said is my exact point. I think that because of Vile Kyle, of Goodbye Kyle, of all the things that Kyle has done, people are going to want their pound of flesh against Kyle. They're going to want her to be accountable. They're going to want her dragged. But I want to know your opinion, though, when it comes to Kyle versus Dorit, about their actual friendship and about what beef they are actually having. Are you still on Dorit's side? Because I understand wanting Kyle to get dragged for everything she's done. But if you put that aside and you focus just on Kyle and Dorit, are you still on her side? I want to know. Holly said, I'm sitting right next to Jennifer Garcelle and son on the couch watching this go down. LOL. Exactly, with the popcorn. 100%. Hey, Chocolate Chunk says, hey, everyone. Hey, sweetheart. Holly says, at Chocolate, hello, how are you? Hey, Lloyd says, Kyle is full of it, so I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Everybody wants her pound of flesh with Kyle, but I'm like, is Dorit the person to like give it to her? I know I'm going to be in the minority. I know it's going to be an uphill battle. I know that the collective conscious is Team Dorit and bring down Vile Kyle. I know. Hey, April. He says, love you, Candy, but you're tripping this time. See, I told you. I know. But you guys, I have to be true to how I feel, even though I know it's not the popular opinion. I know. Trust me. I read the comments on my videos. I understand the collective consciousness. I know. People are going after Kyle and they are rooting for Dorit. I know. But I have to be honest about how I really see it and about how I really feel, knowing that the majority of people aren't going to agree with me. I know. Chocolate Chunk says, "Hey, Holly, I'm great. How are you?" Dewan says, "I'm sick of Garcelle." No, Garcelle. No. How are you sick of her, girl? No. Holly said, "I'm good." Dewan says, "I want Dorit to turn up." Dewan says, "Let me finish, Garcelle." Hey, Darren. Darren says, "Hey, Candy. Hey, sweetheart." Dewan says, "All them little side comments at last year's reunion." Okay, this is the thing. You know, with the candy canes, we can all agree to disagree. So it's totally fine for you to have your opinion about Garcelle versus Dorit. But I will say this. I do like Dorit turned up and activated being herself, even if that version of her is mean and bitchy. However, I want it to be in the right steered at the right direction with the right people, and I don't think it should be against Garcelle. That's just my opinion, but you have yours too, and it's cool. It's no problem. Darren said, "Kathy made my night yesterday." I freaking love Kathy. I'm like, "Kathy, can we be friends?" Not like the fake blogger PR friend. I want to be a real friend. DeWan says Garcelle is riding Sutton coattails and hiding undercover. Sutton is low key new queen of the show. Sutton is not low key the new queen of the show. She is high key the new queen of the show. I think Sutton is definitely the HBIC, and I also think that Garcelle is an HBIC. I think they are together. I love them. Hey, Miss T, what's up? She says hello, Kane, all the Canes. Kyle is doing the most. That's right. Hit that subscribe and like. The one says Garcelle was being a weirdo all up in Dorit convo with Bose. See, I don't think she was being a weirdo. I think she's tapping in. She's showing up. You know, it is. I think it's more weird to be at a group dinner and have a private conversation. If you want to have a private conversation, just go to dinner with your friend. Go to brunch with your friend. But don't sit at a group table and then act like you're having a one-on-one conversation. And Garcelle was just like, "Oh, are we all not allowed to be privy to this conversation? Like, what's going on?" That's just me. The one says, "How many times do you accuse me of being racist but want me to talk to you about my marriage?" Well, this is the thing. Dorit can't have it both ways. Dorit can't say, "You don't like me, you're not interested in me. You say all this mean stuff about me." But then when Garcelle, shows an interest in her, be like, "Well, why are you showing an interest in me? Pick a side." You can't have it both ways. This is kind of how I feel. Lloyd says, "I think two things can be true at the same time. Kyle is reaching for a reason to ice Dorit out, and Dorit is clocked in to keep her diamond." True. 100%. The one says, "Garcelle, bye." Missy says, "Shop it now." Holly says, "Vile Kyle is spoiled brat who throws temper tantrum to get her way." I agree. Like I said before, I do think that Kyle is emotionally immature. She's very emotionally immature and doesn't know how to communicate, particularly when she feels hurt. So I agree with that. Holly says, "Ding Dong Dorit comes off as fake." Took the words out of my mouth, Holly. Ding Dong Dorit is fake. She's fake as hell. And like I said before, how bad is it behind closed doors when the spouse who is bankrupt, gambling debts, raging alcoholic, according to his wife, is the one who wants out? How bad is Dorit? Darren says, "I miss those type of episodes when Bravo used to air the extended version of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills." Yeah, maybe they do on Peacock because I don't watch on Bravo. I watch on Peacock, and Peacock might do the extended version, and also check out the after show. That's when you on the after show. That's when you get the real juice and the real dynamics is on those after shows. The one says Garcelle is coasting. Chocolate Chunk says, "I think Dorit was really just trying to have a personality when she took that sip. Maybe in poor taste, but not that serious." Maybe. But I think in the situation with BravoCon is context matters. In the context of Kyle's relationship with her sisters, Dorit knowing that, also Dorit knowing that Kyle felt some type of way when she inserted herself at the reunion with the conversation about what do you call it? The conversation about between Kyle and Kathy. to do that within that context, I think is intentional and is shady. I think without all of those factors, yeah, it would be a moment, it'd be cute, it'd be fun, but in context, it's not. And Dorit might be dumb, but she's not stupid. You know what I mean? Miss Tanner says, "Hello, Miss T. Thanks for all that you do." That's right. Thank you, Miss T. Thank you. Dewan says, "No reads, no fashions was being a weirdo with Dorit and Boz convo." Miss T says, "Thanks, Holly." Holly Turner says, "You're welcome." Lloyd says, "I want chaos. Dorit and Mauricio dating." Lloyd, me too. How juicy and chaotic would that be? And speaking of, I'm not. I think it was. I think it was you who said two things can be true, right? I think the reason why Dorit wanted to, or I'm sorry, Kyle wanted to ice out Dorit is because, and I said it once, I'll say it again. I think the icing on the cake was the Mauricio Dorit cheating allegations. Because I don't care who you are, you're going to feel some type of way when not just the people you know, but the entire world is speculating whether or not your best friend is having sex with your husband. And Kyle can lie and say the rumors are ridiculous. Dorit can lie and say, oh, the rumors are ridiculous. I don't care who you are. That is going to affect the friendship some type of way. I think that was the nail in the coffin for Kyle. And I agree. I think she's finding things to ice Dorit out. But I think that's really like the crux of it. You know? It is. Dewan says, day after Christmas, man's gone money, gone food, gone Donny Hathaway playing with the engine running. Hey, Miss T. Lloyd says, what about Kyle being mad at Dorit for not defending Teddy? Okay, that was wild to me. Wild. Like, Kyle, you lost that battle. Bringing up Dorit not defending Teddy, not your pony, not your show, none of your business. Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Dorit can react to a situation with Teddy any way she wants to. Like, I agree with Kyle about the BravoCon and taking the shot situation because that is directly dealing with her. But to insert yourself and try to manage how Dorit responds to something that has to do with Teddy is wild. But do I actually think in Kyle's cuckoo mind, she actually took offense to that? I do, because we know Kyle, very emotionally immature, needs the yes people around her. Teddy is her number one soldier. I do think in Kyle's mind, she felt some type of way. But in reality, I don't think she should have. And I think that she felt some type of way and she then used it as more ammunition against Dorit. Exaggerating, grasping at straws, yes. But I think in her cuckoo mind, she actually felt some type of way because Teddy's her soldier. I don't agree with her on that one, though. Dewan says Dorit never liked Teddy like that. You know, Dorit never liked Kyle like that either. You know, Dorit was just showing her true feelings at BravoCon. She wanted to take the sip when Andy asked about the Richard sisters, and she gave her a little smirk when they were talking about Teddy. Dorit is just showing her true feelings. She doesn't like Teddy and she doesn't like Kyle. She's being honest. She's showing us who she really likes. Dewan says Kyle was reaching for something. All her reasons were BS. Chocolate Chunk says, I hate when people gaslight, but this is Kyle's karma for how she treated Kathy and Kim. Holly says Kyle shouldn't be mad for Dorito not defending Teddy. Teddy has Tamrat for that part. Agreed. Dewan says Kyle sacrificed her relationship with Lisa Vanderpump, so Kyle in her mind and Dorit was her bitch, and every time she stepped out of line, she got checked. Chocolate Chunk says, I really take my kids to the playground because I'm too busy doing everything else for them. So dad takes them. Am I not a good mom because of that? Look, Chocolate Chunks, I hear you. I do think that Jeff Lewis was going a little bit too far with the whole Dorit stuff. Like, I get you don't like her, but, you know, like Kyle grasping with the Teddy stuff, you know, you're kind of grasping at straws with this whole I never see her at the playground with the kids stuff. That's a little much. Barbara says when PK said that about the waiter, I busted out laughing. I was waitress for over 30 years, and he's exactly correct. They would have been thrown out the restaurant. Yep. Chocolate Chunk says, is PK a bad father because he's always across the pond? No. Men really get criticized for not being there. 100%. Barbara says Dorit does not want to do the cons anymore. We already spoke about this last season. Yep. But that's my point, though, Barbara, because I was on that train where I was like, Dorit is the one who wants to like upgrade. She's done. But now it turns out PK was the one who initiated the separation, and he's the one who really wants out. So that's why I'm like, wait a minute, what is really going on behind the scenes? Because I agree, we were talking about Dorit doesn't want to do cons anymore. She wants to upgrade. She has the new face, new body. She wants younger, hotter, richer. But he's the one who's leaving her. You see what I'm saying? That's why now I'm like, what the hell is really going on? Where he's the one who's leaving her. You know? The one says Beverly Beach, the bridal line. Little Lisa says, I disagree. Dorit is finally finding her voice. Barb says, Dorit acted that way in her first 2 seasons of the show. This is not new behavior. Right. It's not new behavior, but I think it's her real behavior. I think we're seeing the real her again. Where the last couple of years, I think she coasted. Darren Hood says that's true. Yep. Barbara says on season 7, she took on Erica and Liver Lips Rinna at the same time and never broke a sweat. This is the woman I liked. Yeah. Holly says Liver Lips. Little Lisa says Garcelle was quick to pull the race card on Dorit last season. That was uncalled for. I think that Garcelle was telling her truth. And if that's how she felt, then that's how she felt. And I agree with Garcelle. I do think that Dorit, whether it is intentional or unintentional, whether it is conscious or subconsciously, she does do racial and sort of social micro or macro aggressions. She does. Chocolate Chunk says, Dorit Garcelle, how dare you hurt me? That hurts me. How dare you be hurt? That hurts me. Exactly. Dorit has always been very emotionally manipulative. She's done it to Garcelle. Now she's doing it to Kyle, So it is what it is. Thank you, Miss T. Miss T says, if you love candy, like this live, that's it, you guys. Go ahead and like. Little Lisa says, Mo is living his best life. He is. He really is. He's out with the boys. He has his bachelor pad. He has a little model girlfriend. He's out there dipping it and doing it. Mo is living la vida loca. But I wonder how long that will be fun. I wonder how long that shine and sheen will last before he kind of gets to the point where he's like, you know what? It might be time to call it in. We'll see. Miss T says, Mauricio seems very content with the way things are. Yep. Kyle makes little digs. She does. Because again, emotionally immature. Instead of just saying, I'm scared that this separation is permanent because you moved out and you signed a 6 months lease and you bought furniture. So that to me makes this feel more real. And that really scares me because I do want us to get back together and I do love you and I do want you back. Instead of saying that and being vulnerable, she makes digs. She makes a dig. She makes a dig. And then that makes his guard go up because he's not hearing, I love you, I miss you. He's hearing, these are all the things that you're doing wrong. He hears nagging when what she is actually saying is, I love you and I miss you and I'm scared. What he is hearing is, you're annoying, you did this wrong, criticizing and nagging. Little Lisa says, Kyle loves that photo swap, LOL. She says, does Erica really need a Porsche? Exactly. Erica is jealous of what the other ladies have, especially Kathy, 100%. Holly says, MST, no, she could have donated that to the victims. That's what I'm saying. Erica, I can't with her when it comes to the victims and the money. She could have done so much more to help the victims, so much more. Misty says, what victims? Erica doesn't care. Yep. Hey, Adam. Adam says, hey, Candy and everyone. Hey, sweetheart. Hey, Adam. Holly says, I forgot. Hey, Johnny, you want to share?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Happy holidays. Go ahead and sound off.
Okay, so what I'm gonna say is like I'm gonna get. I think the fans are like turning on Garcelle. Like I don't know why when she never liked Dorit, and I just feel like we need to be like really honest. She would never like Dorit. She did all the stuff that Dorit is claiming Kyle is doing. Dorit has done to Garcelle, and now the tables are kind of turning. Me personally, I do not like Kyle, and I seen what you said like in previous videos of how like the audience is gonna side with Dorit, and the girls gonna side with Kyle, and I see that because of how Kyle is, and I'm on that. I'm on that kind of train too, but I'm being honest with the simple fact of like the other girls have no reason to like Dorit.
Exactly.
So I don't. I just feel like why would Garcelle or Sutton or anybody would give other than like Bose? Why would they even give Dorit the time of day based on how she acted before? While Kyle, yes, she likes to cry and play victim, but it's just like at least you know how to apologize. So that's why she still got friends. So
Exactly. That's why Dorit, the only person Dorit has is Bozema. And she barely has Erica.
yep. I don't think she's gonna have Erica for too long either, based off the simple fact of like how fast she was to throw Erica under the bus with the whole conversation. But I do think what Dorit is saying about Kyle is true, but I just think she just don't have nobody on her side. But I don't think nobody should take her side because they don't like her. And also, that's all I had to say about the situation. My birthday is tomorrow. Period.
Ah, happy birthday! Sagittarius, right?
Yes. So I'm always gonna be Team Garcelle too, because she's a Sag as well.
Love it. Happy birthday.
Thank you, thank you. So what's we were talking about before I came up here? 'Cause I came up here so fast.
Honestly, I forgot. So what are your thoughts on Bozema, the new girl? I want to know your thoughts on her.
I like Bozema so far. So I like it so far. I want to see more from her, like more of her personal story. Um, I can see that. I hope this the only thing I hope for is like she's open to get to know the other ladies because I do feel like Dorit is like she is. I feel like Dorit needs a friend and Bozema is there because she's new and all this other stuff. But I feel like I seen on like Instagram like she's cool with the Garcelle, she's cool with Erica, like all of that stuff. So I wonder how her and Kyle is going to be. That's going to be interesting.
Mhm.
And I also want to see how her dynamic will be with Sutton as well. I feel like they will probably maybe clash. This is just speculations, but I like her so far. She seems cool, and I like her confessionals about Kathy a lot.
Yeah, like I said, I think Bozema, she's a confessional warrior. I think she shines more in confessionals, which is fine because a lot of the housewives do. But I want her to, and again, it just might be because she's new, it's only episode 3. I want her to tap in a little bit more in the actual scenes. Because now I
Yeah.
kind of feel like she's just sort of there and she's not really participating as much. But again, she might need to warm up and get to know the ladies and get her groove. But I do like her overall, and she has a very interesting backstory. But I do think she's holding back a little bit. But again, maybe because she's new and she needs to get her groove and everything. But I think that there's a part of her, a side to her that we're not seeing. Not that it's bad. I don't mean it in a bad way or anything like that. But I think there's just something that I'm like, I can't put my finger on it, that I'm just like, what's missing or what's not there? I don't know. There's just something that I'm kind of like not 100% clicking with. Also, maybe it's because when I see her in the confessionals with Dorit, and I could be projecting my own experiences, but not me doing this, but seeing other people do it. It's just so weird how much of a pick me she is with Dorit. Like,
Mm,
do you watch the after show?
yes, and I honestly,
Do
I
you see
personally
what I'm
like.
saying?
You said what?
I said, do you see what I'm saying when it comes to both
Yes.
Dorit? She's almost like shucking and a jiving when it comes to like I'm like, is Bozeman about the tap dance for Dorit? Like, what the hell is going on here? And I don't want to like project because I'm a black woman and watching it, but I'm just almost like, Bozema, you don't need to try so hard with Dorit. Like you don't
Yeah.
need to be so far up her butt and so chucking and jiving for this. Like every time Dorit has something, she's like, "Yeah, girl, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, what? Drop the pin. Oh no, girl. Oh yeah." I'm like, what the hell am I'm like, what? And I
Yeah,
think
I see exactly what you're
you
saying.
see what I'm saying? Okay,
Yeah,
okay, good. I'm not all right, good. I'm not losing it. But you see what
yeah,
I'm saying, especially with
we
that
see each
after
other with
show.
that. Because
100%.
now that you put that in my mind, I'm thinking like since she's in the corporate world, you know how black people
Exactly.
have to like what black people have to do to get in them high standings and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I could see that more now that you put it in my eye, like in front of my face. I can see that
Yeah.
because she is in the corporate business.
Exactly. And we have to code switch and, you know, do all types of different things in order to survive in those environments. And I really see it with Bozema and Dorit. And I also think it's so jarring because of how Dorit is with Garcelle versus how Dorit is with Bozema. And I hate
Yeah,
making it about race, but we have to be keep it 100 way funky with this. There is a racial aspect to this with how Garcelle is received by Dorit versus how Bozema is received by Dorit.
yeah, because
And
the entertainment industry is different.
very, very, very different. And the way, and I also feel, and I think Garcelle and Bozema will be good and cool. Again, I think that Bozema will get along. Well, I think she'll play nice with everybody. But, and again, maybe this is just me, but I do see a little bit of, I think Bozema is a little bit intimidated by Garcelle
I can see
because
that.
Garcelle is she's a black woman who is able to thrive in I'm just going to keep it 100% white spaces. She's able to thrive in those spaces and she's also confident. She is fully in her blackness without chucking and jiving. Whereas I feel like Bozema is also a black woman who has been able to navigate white spaces, but the way we see the duality between Bozema and Garcelle, to me, Bozema does chuck and jive. And I think she is intimidated by Garcelle because Garcelle doesn't have to do that in order to be accepted. And I also think
Yeah,
that sometimes, and I've experienced this a lot, where you are the only black girl in a white space. And sometimes you see another black girl, and instead of being like, okay, we should be allies in this, it's oh we should be competitors in this. And I don't think that Bozema and Garcelle will go there. I don't think it's going to be contentious, but I feel a little bit of that energy. Like I look for me when I watch the show, I look at the women, I look at their body language, I look at the way they look at each other, I look at the way they smirk or whatever. And just in the car when Garcelle was talking about who she dated, Bozema kind of had like a little like look on her face. And I'm like, why are you kind of being like that with Garcelle when she's talking about the people she dated? Like, are you jealous? And then at the surreal party, you could tell that when Garcelle came up, when Bozema and Dorit were talking, when Dorit was giving Garcelle attitude, basically like icing her out, Bozema kind of, she didn't do the same, but you could tell she kind of co-signed with Dorit just through body language. Like, you know, when like you and your girlfriend are talking and some chick you don't mess with comes in and you kind of co-sign it with your friend. It was kind of that vibe. And I'm kind of like, Bozema, you just got here. Like, don't do that to Garcelle because you're trying to win favor with Dorit because you guys are trauma bonding over here, you know?
yeah,
So those were the little things that I was kind of like, oh man. But I don't think it'll spiral between Garcelle and Bozema. I think that they will be surface cool, but I don't think it'll be deep. But that's okay. They don't have to go deep, but I think that it will be. And I think that's what I'm feeling with Bozema, where I'm kind of like, there's just something a little off. I like her, but a little bit of that going on. Okay, you talk. I talk for a long time.
no, you're good. I want to say I agree with you saying because like once you put it in like yeah, that's what opinions are all about. Just putting it up in front of your face so you can be like, oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I could see that for sure because, like you said before, the entertainment industry is different from the corporate industry. Like corporate, you have to climb up ladders. Entertainment, you kind of, build yourself based off of your own personality and your own like keeping yourself relevant basically. So I could see that with the both of them. Like I said before, I don't think it's gonna spiral either. And if it does, I really gonna be so disappointed because I feel like they have a space. Both of them have a space on the show. Because like I said before, and I never said this before, but I have said this in the, like with my other friends. The only person I feel like who shouldn't have been on the show was Anne Marie. That's just it. But that was just, I think she was just not a good fit for the show at all. So I really hope they get it together. And I also could see, like, to add on to your point, I could also see it in her confessionals as well. Like I said, I do like her confessionals with Kathy, but that's basically what we would say. Like, she can do whatever she want to do, and still be a boss, but I can't do that. We can't do
That
that. We'll
part.
be,
That
yeah.
part.
So I could, now that is in the forefront, I totally agree. I want to know though,
Yeah.
thinking about Erica. Okay, so I'm trying to figure Erica out this season. I'm trying to figure out what role is she trying to play this season. I understand that, like, she had her stuff with um was it Tom? That's his name, right?
Yeah. Tom Girardi. Yep.
Yeah. She had her stuff with Tom, and she was just a evil, wicked person that the whole time. Now that
Hmm.
Rena is gone, now that Diana is gone, she's trying to, I don't know if she's trying to be this comic relief type of person, and it's just not rubbing me the right way. I don't know if she's trying to front for the cameras, but she's claiming she want everybody else to be real. So I'm trying to figure out, what what do you think Erica role is this season?
I think Erica's role this season is mediator between Kyle and Dorit.
Okay.
I think that's her biggest role this season. We even see it with like when they Erica and Dorit talking. Flash forward 4 hours later, and then it's like Kyle and Erica talking. Blah 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 blah. I think she's sort of the mediator because they're making the Kyle um and Dorit feud the core feud of the season that we see. And so
Yeah.
when these two women are fighting, we need someone who's going to be that middle person mediator. And I think that's Erica. I also think Erica is still trying to have a redemption arc, which I'm tired of. Like, I don't need Erica redeemed. I don't need anything from Erica. Stop it. So she's still having her whole, like, I'm building myself up from the bottom and I have nothing and blah, 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 blah. So she's still doing this weird redemption arc and she's being the mediator between the two of them. I think we're also going to see Erica, Garcelle, and Sutton become their own little trio. Like we saw in the previews how she's like tonguing down Garcelle and she's like, oh my God, I love Sutton. I want to punch her in her face, but I love her. I think we're going to see that trio come together more and party and do whatever. So I think Erica's role this season is still her redemption arc, which I think stinks, mediate Kyle and Dorit. And then I also think she's going to be a bit of a Kiki and a vibe with Garcelle and Sutton. And that was foreshadowed last season when they all got together and had the tequila shots and they got drunk and they were talking about sex and being all that stuff. You see them getting together closer and becoming more of a trio and having more of an alliance and a friendship. I also think that's why Erica will also be kind of distancing herself from Dorit a little bit more. Like, yes, she's Dorit's friend. Yes, she's sort of playing Switzerland, but I think that she likes Garcelle more than she likes Dorit. And I think that she agrees with Garcelle about Dorit's, microaggressions, calling Garcelle angry and, making it about herself when Garcelle was talking about her kids. So I think that Erica likes Garcelle more than she likes Dorit. And even though I think that Erica likes Dorit more than she likes Kyle, I think she's like me and PK, and we're kind of calling her on her BS and being like, you're just being ridiculous with this whole feud. You're just being obnoxious. Girl, stop it. Which I think is going to drive Erica to be more on Kyle's side.
That makes sense.
Hey, Adam. What's up, boo boo?
Okay. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? You want to share?
Good, good. Hope you all enjoyed Thanksgiving last week.
I did. I gained like a pound.
Yeah, yeah. I literally had no idea because it's one of the few days that we don't mutually celebrate. So when you told me, I was like, oh, it's a big deal. Why we're not doing it live? I I've got a mixed opinion with Bosima. Like, I don't have any definitive kind of opinion. She's just fresh. I like that she's kind of got a different background to the others, that they're not someone who's just used a friend or from the entertainment industry. But so far, I think she won't be anyone's puppet significantly. I think the Dorit thing is weird. I don't know about the after show because for some reason Bravo doesn't want anyone outside of America to see it. I don't know why. But with I would say the person that's annoying me the most is Vile Kyle. And I am actually living for Dorit this season. I don't really vibe with her. Like, I would never be her friend in real life because I think we all know why. But I think Kyle does have. I don't think she would treat Erica the way she's treated Dorit in a few instances. And to use the Nat as your looking for stuff moment is beyond. I felt like just switching off my TV when I saw that. Like, I was like, what is this? Garcelle, I like her bond with Sutton, but I kind of similar to how you feel with Bosima. I feel that we don't have that. I liked her in season 10, 11, and 12, but last season, I don't know if things got edited, but I didn't feel like I saw the 100% from her. I felt like I only got 75, and I kind of want to have that kind of comedic side, where it felt more free. I think last season was a bit of a mixed match because we had some strange people who randomly appeared out of nowhere, but thankfully Anne-Marie's gone. I don't even know why she made the cut. But yeah, my MVPs with Beverly Hills right now is Sutton and Erica. I think just like as you said with Garcelle, I think Erica doesn't need really to give a storyline every season. I feel that her situation for the past few years have pretty much been ubiquitous. I mean, it was in every single major tabloid and broadsheet you could think of. It wasn't just a Bravo thing. I mean, but I would say the person I want to see more from, but not that I dislike her, but I just want to see more from is Garcelle. But I want to also see Dorit kind of lose it more with Kyle. I kind of think that's the only reason why she's kind of made it. I mean, this breakup with obese Kemsley, I'm not sure. Like, to me, kind of the robbery, I have my own instincts when it comes to the robbery. I don't really buy into that. I mean, as mean as that may sound, PK, he has a bad reputation in this country, especially in London. He's not even allowed to own a house in his own name. The whole thing sounds sounds calculated, and as mean as it is to say, my favorite scene of that whole situation was when the Sutton said, "I've been putting fires out all day." But I think one of the things we're going to disagree on in this season, I can already project, is Jennifer Tilly. I'm just not vibing with her.
Don't you dare!
I find her just
Be ill.
I mean,
Jennifer Tilly.
I mean, to me, I just find her a bit of a weirdo. It's me just pulling it blunt. I mean,
Jennifer Tilly.
I mean, she just comes across as a bit of a weirdo to me. I mean,
you gotta watch the after show. I'm gonna record them and send them to you because I think if you got to see the after show, I think your opinion would be different because it's so enlightening to watch the episode and then to watch the after show. It's almost like two different shows, even though it's the after show. Same thing with like Salt Lake City.
I don't know why they allowed it last season but this
Maybe
whole
it'll come out.
season,
Maybe it'll be
this
there
whole
soon.
season, it just says you're not in America, you can't watch it. I don't know. It's weird.
Maybe there's like a release date or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. Go on. I'll stop. Go on.
with Sutton, I want to kind of what I think is the weird thing with Sutton is that a lot of the scenes that we saw in the trailer with Sutton have kind of appeared in these first 3 episodes, and I want to kind of be surprised. I want to see some shady moments we didn't see in the trailer. I want to see her keeping it real. I think I've kind of got a weird suspicion with Bosima and Sutton. I just out of interest, when I was along with Stephen Bartlett, I saw her with other interviewers, and when I stumbled across on her profile, I kind of saw kind of the highlighted comments where you had Dorit all over her. Erica made some comments, and I think maybe there's a little tension, but she doesn't seem to be. You know how you said on the last live that the worst case scenario with Bosima is that she was introduced to this group by Sutton, but yet she's going to kind of throw Sutton under the bus. Because that's we know that's happened with a bunch of people. They get introduced by someone on the show and then they throw them under the bus and what have you. That's kind of the worst case scenario. That might actually be entertaining if just thinking about it from the flip side, but I kind of wouldn't want to see that in someone's first season, if you know what I mean. And yeah, if you actually just DM me the after show clips or whatever,
I will.
Then I will be intrigued, because maybe my opinion will change with Jennifer Tilly, but I mean, it's going to be like me trying to prove. It's going to be like me trying to flip your opinion with Heavenly. I think, I don't know.
Heavenly is evil, demon spawn.
Jennifer
Tilly is just like wacky and like having fun and wearing caftans and like drinking out of like, you know, $1,000 crystal ball or something. Like, Jennifer Tilly isn't hurting anybody.
With the Kyle and Dorit situation though,
okay,
are you picking a side? Like, what you're vibing? Like, who
with
do you
the
think?
Kyle and Dorit?
Yeah.
So I'm team Kyle, fully knowing that is the unpopular side. And I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback. I've already seen comments on my videos and I know that, but I have to be real. I can't, you know, it would be so much easier for me to sit up here and be like, oh my God, I'm team Dorit, vile Kyle, blah, 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 knowing that that's the popular opinion and that's what the collective conscious thinks. But I got to keep it real to myself, because Kyle, because I see it as two separate things that are being conflated into one. And you can even see it in the comments on my live right now. I think that the one issue is Kyle, you know, how she treated LVP, how she's treated her own sisters, you know, how she likes to stir the pot but not be honest about her life, you know, how she's emotionally immature and how she needs yes people and all that stuff. I get it. I'm not saying that she is absolved of why we call her Vile Kyle, why we call her Goodbye Kyle. I totally get that. People want their pound of flesh. People want her to be accountable. They want her taken down a peg or two. You know, being a producer plant and being protected by production. Totally get all of that. But I think that is a separate thing from the issues that Dorit is claiming to have with Kyle and Kyle is claiming to have with Dorit. So when it comes to Kyle versus Dorit, I'm team Kyle, because Kyle and Dorit's quote friendship was always a transaction. Kyle likes having yes people in her corner. Dorit wanted cover on the show. Dorit didn't want to have to clock in, because like we said, Dorit clocked in in season 7, and then she clocked the hell out. And now she's all of a sudden clocking back in season 14. So what the hell was she doing for the last 7 seasons? She was coasting. She was Kyle's yes person, and she got cover. She wanted to keep her diamond. She wanted to keep her Bravo check. She wanted her 15 minutes of fame, but she didn't want to actually do anything. So she clocked in season 7, then she clocked the hell out, okay? So it was transactional. Kyle got a yes person, Dorit got cover. Now, their friendship dynamic started to shift when Dorit started to be less of a yes person, when Kyle would be Kyle and would flip out when she's not getting her way, as we know it is. I think all of those little digs here, digs there, Kyle digging at Dorit, Dorit digging at Kyle, then you put gasoline to that fire. They both are lying about the Mauricio and Dorit rumors are so ridiculous. Miss me with that. I don't care how strong your marriage is. I don't care how deep your friendship is. When the entire world is speculating on if your best friend is busting it open for your man, that is going to put a strain on any friendship. I'm not saying your friendship cannot survive it, but don't lie and say that there will not be a season, short or long, of things not looking good between them. You know what I'm saying? Like something you gotta figure that out. That is just human nature 101. I don't care what they say. So I think when you put that gasoline on tit and tit and tit, obviously that transactional friendship is going to implode. And that's what we're seeing now. The reason why I'm Team Kyle is because Dorit is acting like, I'm so surprised by all this. Kyle, you're so manipulative. Oh, you used me. You tried to silence me, blah, 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 blah. I think Dorit is putting it on. She's putting on a show. And I think I think PK knows she's putting on a show. Erica sure as hell knows she's putting on a show. That's why Erica just sits there like this. I don't know. I see both sides. Because she knows Dorit's putting it on. Kyle knows Dorit is putting it on. Because I don't think Dorit ever really liked Kyle. I think she talked about Kyle like a dog to Erica and Lisa Rinna. I think they clown Kyle. I don't think they took Kyle seriously. And I think that Dorit being out here trying to play victim in this transactional friendship is absolutely ridiculous. And that's why I'm Team Kyle on this. I'm like, Dorit, just keep it 100. You now are so activated and on fire because now you get to tell Kyle to her face everything you said about her behind her back. And that's why I don't respect Dorit. Dorit, just keep it 100% funky. Just keep it 100% funky. You used Kyle and Kyle used you. And that's what the situation is. That's why in this situation, I'm Team Kyle. But I think the collective consciousness is conflating the two things. Vile Kyle, we want to take her down a peg or two, with Kyle versus Dorit, where in my mind, these are two separate situations. Do I think Kyle needs to be accountable for all the stuff she has done? 100%. But when it comes to Kyle versus Dorit, I think Dorit, pardon my French, she's completely full of shit. I agree with PK when he told her about herself with the whole PTSD stuff. He was like, I don't think this is PTSD. I think this is obnoxious. Same thing with Erica Jane when she's talking to Dorit. She's like, okay, well, I think that Kyle would say the same thing. Let's get Dorit a drink and blah, 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 kind of placating her, where it's like, Dorit, stop acting like you're so hurt by this when you never rocked with Kyle in the first place. And that's why I can't side with Dorit in this situation, because I don't think she's being honest or real. But again, I do understand how people want Kyle to be accountable, but I don't think Kyle has done anything to Dorit, to be honest with you, except for give her cover for the last 7 years.
Interesting.
And so that's why between the two of them, I'm Team Kyle, but I also understand that Kyle does need to be accountable for everything that she's done to pretty much everybody else other than Dorit. But everybody's putting it in one bucket when they're not the same bucket. Does that make sense?
Hey,
Holly.
It's interesting, but
Sorry.
It's interesting. I liked it how you explained it, because you gave your opinion with kind of the substance and the background as usual and keeping it real. But I disagree because of the way that Kyle, as you said, is a producer pitch. And as much as I do want her to ever come back, but Rob Minkoff's wife, when she said on the Jeff Lewis podcast that production said the words that this is Kyle Richards' show, and what she says go. I believe production said that, and I don't believe she was Kyle's producer pet in the first 2 seasons. I believe she was Lisa Vanderpump's minion in the first 2 seasons. But when Dorit, Kyle, and Lisa Rinna fought, making mockery and trying to destroy someone when their brothers passed away, then she flipped to Kyle and Renna's side. But I think with that text at the reunion, that's what makes me more on Dorit's side overall. That text that she was sent was pretty much saying, "Don't say a word about me."
Wait, Adam, 1 second. Not to interrupt, but to interject. I'm happy you brought up the text, because in Dorit's own words, she exposes herself. So she did an interview with Deadline, and she talks about the text message and everything, and she says how her and Kyle had not been close for about a year and a half prior to the reunion, prior to the text message, right? And so in the text message, Kyle is saying, we're going to go into the reunion. I just want to make sure that you're not going to bring up our issues, because I'm not planning on bringing up those issues. We both have, I have enough on my plate or whatever. So,
but she would have brought it up. She would have brought it up regardless.
Adam,
that's Kyle being fake.
No,
that's
Adam,
Kyle being fake. She would have done. Because...
Adam, let me finish what I'm saying first. Let me finish the thought and then interject.
All right.
Okay. That's not Kyle being fake. That's actually Kyle being 100% real. Because Dorit, just like Kyle, had the opportunity on camera during that year and a half to bring up the actual problems and issues that they were having in their friendship, and she didn't do that. Dorit is just like, oh my God, Kyle and I are besties. I miss her. Very surfacey, very like, oh, she's with Morgan. Very like bull essy crap. Didn't bring any real juice, any real stuff, any real what they're going through to the show that entire year and a half. So Dorit had the opportunity to be honest on camera to everybody about the true state of her issues with Kyle, and she kept quiet because she wanted to coast the way she's been coasting, and she didn't want to rock the boat because she didn't feel she had the opportunity yet until it became like vile Kyle, all of that stuff with the rest of the world. So Dorit herself was not being honest about the state of her and Kyle's relationship on the show. Kyle in the text message also was like, yeah, we haven't, and she says in it, they don't know like how deep it is or whatever she said, basically being like, production doesn't know, people don't know. I'm not going to say anything. I want to make sure you're not going to say anything. That's not being fake. That is somebody coming to somebody and be like, listen, you've been cool not being honest for the last year and a half. I've been cool with not being honest for the last year and a half. I'm just checking in to make sure we're still on that same page of not being honest, because tomorrow I got some other fish to fry. That is what Kyle's text said. Dorit read that text and used that text against her because Dorit needed relevancy. Dorit was going into a reunion where nobody liked her because of how she was being with Garcelle, and Garcelle was on her neck the entire time. She had absolutely zero storyline. Nobody gives a damn about her fake PTSD, her fake home invasions, in my opinion. Yes. Her fake marriage and everything going on. Nobody cares. Dorit was boring and flat. She had no allies, and she was going into a reunion knowing her back was against the wall. We all know the reunion is when you're able to redeem yourself. She knew she was on the chopping block to lose her diamond. So she was using her card to play, which was, oh, this text message. Let me start this beef with Kyle, say how she's trying to silence me and it's so manipulative. No, you told on yourself. You can't say that Kyle is trying to silence you when you yourself was in on not being honest for the last year and a half. And all Kyle said was, I'm just making sure we're both on the same page. How is that being manipulative? And this came out of Dorit's own mouth. Go on deadline.com. She says it, and she said it multiple times. So I'm not making this up. You can Google this. You can read the article for yourself. But stupid people always tell on themselves. They think she thought she was really doing something by being like, it'd been a year and a half. And what is Erica and all them saying? This has been a long time coming, a long time coming. We didn't know this was a long time coming. I thought this kind of popped up with the whole Morgan thing. But apparently they were beefing before Morgan. So that's what I'm saying. Dorit is a liar. and she's
I think
really
they
just
both
doing this
are.
for
I
relevancy.
think they.
Right,
I think they
right.
both are in their
But
own way.
my
I
point is
think
they both
though,
exactly, they both were lying. So why
but
is Dorit now trying to act like Kyle was the manipulator? Kyle wasn't manipulating anything.
because it is calculated to do it the day
Mm-mm.
beforehand, and
When else
I,
was she supposed to do it?
but
When else was she supposed
it just comes across as convenient. And if we just look at Kyle as a
to?
backstory, this is the same woman who thinks that being not upfront herself is okay. This whole Morgan thing was just a fake
And Dorit's a
facade.
liar too. Dorit's a
Yeah,
liar too.
but
But
I just
that's
think
my
they
whole
don't
point.
have a genuine friendship in general. I don't think they actually
Exactly.
are real friends.
You exactly. I'm
But
so
I
happy
think
you said that
Erica,
because you made my
but
point. You made my point. They
but I
were
think
not genuine.
Erica deep down actually, as we said last live, doesn't give a damn about Miss Kyle, and I believe, as you said, that the three of them being I like to make mockery of other people's bereaved family members, aka Renner. I think the three of them have a pact. I think
Mm-hmm.
that Kyle, at the end of the day, is someone who is a fake phony, but I think Dorit is a fake phony that doesn't have the privilege of having the producers bow down to you.
Right,
That's
which is
how
why she used Kyle, because Kyle did have that privilege. Like, I'm not saying Kyle is perfect or scot-free, no, but I'm saying Dorit is just as dirty, but she's trying to pretend like she's not. So, Holly, do you want to share? So then go Holly, and then you, Emmanuel.
Of course I do. I will have to say, sorry for the background noises, guys. I got dogs here, by the way. But yeah, with Dorit, I think she's just a really big ding dong, and I think she just uses people that are like HIBs, you know. Like she clinged on to LVP when LVP was there, and then she clings on to Kyle, and now Kyle's, you know, not really wanting to quote unquote be your friend anymore, you know. So with her, she's got to save her job somehow, you know. And then with Kyle, I just think it's time for her to give back her diamond and allow new people to come in. We need more fun. We need more positivity. I just think. But I do like Boza. I really like her, or Bozma. I really like her so far. I think she's really cool. I like how much she wanted to have fun last night with everyone, and that just made a whole big difference with me. And I really do think Kathy is just hilarious with that duck duck goose and then the racing and then just going and giving those invitations like that. Personally, I thought it was very, very nice. And I've always liked Jennifer Tilly. She's always been super cool and fun. Her movies were always awesome. But you guys already know how much I love Garcelle and Sutton. And there's not really much to say about Erica for me. I'm not a fan of Kyle, Dorit, and Erica. They're too mean, too fake.
I agree.
It's
They are
time to be done.
evil.
I just don't like the bullying. I think it's overrated. You know, back when they first started these series, I don't know if you guys ever watched when the Real Housewives of Orange County, when they first came out, when Jenna, Tammy, you know, before Tamrat was on there. It was just really cool, relaxed. They actually showed their lives, and you know, they brought, you know, subjects that were serious, and now they're just all about bullying each other and seeing who's HIB. You know, that shouldn't be about, you know, a show, even though it's entertainment.
Agreed. Thank you, Holly. I love your points.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sweetheart.
Sorry if I'm over the place.
No, you were fine. Don't apologize. You did a great job. A great job. Hey, Emmanuel, you want to share, sweetheart?
Hey, Candy. Hey, Adam. Hey, everybody. How's everyone doing? Okay. I'm loving Kathy Hilton and Jennifer Tilly. They bring like a fun aspect to the show. I found myself laughing a few times last night watching the episode. I like that it's, that we can get scenes that are a little bit more fun, like when they were at the beach, so it's not super toxic or whatever. Um, Sutton isn't really doing much for me. She's kind of just there. But I gotta say, I hear what you're saying, Candy. Absolutely, I do. But I'm actually agreeing with Adam. I do think that text that Kyle sent Dorit was manipulative for two reasons. One, the timing, and two, who it's coming from. So first, the timing. This text message was sent the day before the reunion. And yeah, when you read the text message, it sounds like, a friend who's like you saying, I've been going through a lot with my husband, and the show is so toxic and all this stuff. But because it is the day before the reunion, it kind of does give manipulative in the sense that she's kind of trying to say, oh, I'm having such a hard time. Don't bring those issues up at the reunion. And then, like I said, number two, who it's coming from. This is Kyle Richards we're talking about. Kyle will sell her sisters out and play the victim. And that is the reason why I'm kind of on Dorit's side, because if we're such good friends and you're sending me this heartfelt message, but then you're trying to downplay our friendship, and then when I ask you why, you're saying that it's because Watch What Happens Live and Teddy, it doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like her reasoning as to why she's mad, she's not explaining it in a way which makes sense.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
And then I want to say one more thing. This is a really unpopular opinion, but I loved Garcelle when she first came onto the show. I really did. I absolutely loved her. She was my favorite. I'm starting to give her the side eye a little bit. I heard what you said about Bose and Dorit's friendship, and I totally understand what you're saying. But I also feel like Garcelle. Okay, so for example, when they were at the beach and they were Bose and Dorit were having the conversation. Yeah, of course I could see how it could be a little rude that we're in a group and y'all are having your own conversation. Like, can you include us? But when they were back in the hotel and Garcelle and Sutton were talking about Dorit not talking to them about what's going on, I just thought to myself, Garcelle and Sutton, do y'all really think Dorit is gonna want to talk to you guys? I mean, Garcelle, I love you to death, but even when you were reading Dorit's separation announcement, you were throwing shade, saying that she was long-winded. Now, don't get me wrong, Garcelle has every right to not like Dorit, more than enough of a reason, But I don't know. Maybe I'm a little naive, but I'm kind of giving the benefit of the doubt to Bose and Dorit's friendship. And I feel like people just click with different people, and I just think that Dorit and Garcelle were never able to get along. Like, it's always been, digs at each other and things like that. So, but so with Garcelle, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, and I'm even going. I'm even going to go as far as to say I felt a little jealousy when she was talking about Bose and Dorit's friendship. I might be wrong, but that's kind of what I was thinking.
I love your opinions. Agree, disagree, but I don't think Garcelle is jealous of Bose and Dorit.
No, not them, but like maybe their friend, or maybe I'm reaching, but just her being like, oh, they're spending so much time together or whatever. And I'm just like, well, I mean, can't Dorit have a friend?
Yeah, I think she's okay with Dorit having a friend. I don't think she's jealous. I think it was more of a questionable, like, okay, like they're spending a lot of time together. She's new, whatever the case may be. I think it was more of a side eye to Dorit than I just don't see Garcelle being jealous, and especially not of Dorit.
No, of course not. She's not.
You know what I mean? I don't get the jealousy, but I understand your points, and those are great. But Garcelle jealous of Dorit in any capacity, that I don't think. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No, but those are great. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Mhm.
Anybody else want to sound off? Everybody's had a turn, so whoever
Oh,
wants to go, go.
oh, I want to go. I
Yeah.
I had to leave because like I said, tomorrow's my birthday. I'm getting birthday calls left and right. So I want to jump in on the Dorit and Cow beef, and I'm seeing both sides. I heard your side, Candy, and I heard Adam's side, and I'm conflicted. I'm very conflicted because I will say for me, I am Team Dorit. I will say that for me because I feel like watching the seasons, it makes sense storyline wise. But I do see what you say, Candy, when it comes to like um both of their friendships was transactional, right? So I always like to this is my thing for me to make it make sense. I like to compare certain housewives to other franchises if they have like similar relationships. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna compare Kyle and Dorit to Giselle and Robin, right? Giselle produced a pet, you know, she could give nothing, but we know she's gonna be protected. Robin, on the other hand, Giselle mouthpiece, etc., etc. If they were to fall out, would that be the same opinion, or do you think it would be different because they're genuine friends? Because I would say with the text message, per se, I'm 100% on your side, Candy. The text message, because if y'all in it together, not speaking on each other business, right? You need to keep it like that because
Exactly. And then for Dorit to be all up in arms, and it was so obvious she was only doing the text message thing because she wanted a moment at the reunion and she wanted relevancy and she wanted to bring a drama. I don't even think she believed what she was saying herself.
yeah.
Like,
So that's why I say I agree with
yeah,
that.
like,
Like she shouldn't have said nothing because just like how Giselle didn't say anything about
yep.
Juan cheating, they kept it like that, right? So, but on the flip side, where I'm conflicted at is like the things that Kyle does to Dorit is like I feel like the only thing you said like Kyle don't do anything to Dorit. I do think Kyle reaches when it comes to Dorit a little bit, like the whole her not sticking up for Teddy at the Watch What Happen Live BravoCon. There we go. Like that's not an issue for you to have with Dorit if she ain't sticking for Teddy. Another thing I feel like Dorit has a point is the what is it called? The Kathy and Kyle situation.
Okay.
I feel like with that situation, out of everybody, Dorit played mutual. Like, oh, Kyle, Kyle. I feel like y'all both need to take accountability or whatever. And I think that was like a real response. Whereas you had like, what's her name? Rena, I don't care for her, but Rena and Erica going attacking your sister while Dorit was on the stance of like, she feel this way, you feel this way, y'all meet in the middle. And also I feel like Garcelle actually had the same opinion, but she didn't give Garcelle the same pushback. Like y'all need to meet in the middle per se. So that's the only thing. But after hearing both perspectives, I'm conflicted.
I think I'll help you with your conflict, giving the two examples you gave to be pro Dorit. The one thing with the Teddy and Kyle, stretching it, I agree that or reaching rather. I do agree that Kyle was reaching with the whole Teddy thing, but that's post their falling out. Right? So I think that they had already had their falling out and now Kyle is saying these things of like why they did. But
Okay.
prior to them falling out, Kyle didn't do anything to Dorit. We've seen what Kyle has done to LVP, what she did to Kim, what she did to Kathy, what she did to Yolanda, how she's just behaved in the past. But Kyle has never really done anything wrong to Dorit. Like, what has Kyle done to Dorit? You can say, oh, she iced her out. Yeah, she iced you out because you guys were beefing at the time. But what did Kyle do to Dorit? Nothing, because Dorit was coasting and being a yes person, right? So I get that she's reaching, but Kyle hasn't done anything to, in my opinion, warrant the vitriol and the smoke that Dorit has, being like, F you, you need to listen. I'm not taking this F anymore. And finger and giving the middle finger and blah, blah, blah. Like, whoa, like your reaction to Kyle is over the top. And even Kyle was like, you're acting like a crazy person right now. Like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, her reaction to even Kyle icing her out in certain situations, she's doing too much and she's over the top. And to me, it's very performative because she wants to keep her diamond. And she also is finally being able to tell Kyle to her face how she really feels. So I think what we're seeing with Dorit is this pent up resentment and animosity that she's always had towards Kyle because she never really liked Kyle like that in the first place. And she felt some type of way not being her true self in order to coast with Kyle's cover because their relationship was transactional. So yes, I do think that Kyle is reaching with the Teddy stuff, but to me that's just the aftermath of their beef already. But what did Kyle do to Dorit for Dorit to be this hateful? That is my core issue when it comes to Kyle versus Dorit. Kyle has done a lot of hateful stuff and she should be accountable for it, but she hasn't really done hateful stuff to Dorit. The whole text message thing is a bunch of BS. All Kyle said was, I'm still keeping it Gucci tomorrow. I'm just checking in and make sure you keeping it Gucci too. That's all her text was. It wasn't manipulation. She was like, you still lying? Because I'm still lying. Just checking in, right? That's all the text was because Dorit had been lying for a year and a half too, just the way Kyle was. So she wasn't trying to manipulate or silence her. She was just checking in to be like, you still good? Because I'm still good, okay? And then with the Kathy Hilton attack neutral stuff, the reason why I think that Kyle didn't go after, Lisa Rinna and Erica for attacking her sister is because, and this is where Vile Kyle comes in and why everybody is against Kyle, is I think that Kyle was a part of the Kathy Hilton takedown plan. I think she wanted her sister taken down a peg or two. I think that she was a part of it with Erica, with Dorit, with Rinna, with Dirty Diana Jenkins, with whoever the hell else it was, with the whole Aspen Gate. I don't think she was privy to everything that happened, but because of the way that she spoke about her sister, the way she treated her sister, gave the other women permission to treat her sister some type of way. Because if I respect my sister and you're my friend, based on the soulness of our friendship, you're going to respect my sister too. But if I'm talking about my sister, if I'm clowning her, if I'm disrespecting her, if I'm, just like everybody else, then you're going to feel comfortable enough to do the same thing. Those women should not have felt that comfortable to come after Kathy, disrespect her, set her up, do X, Y, and Z in Kyle's presence. The only reason why they felt that comfortable was because Kyle was doing the same thing. So of course Kyle isn't going to go after Erica and Lisa Rinna because she enjoys it. She is pissed at her sister. She wants to take her down a peg or two, and she was in on it. It even came out during the whole Aspen Gate. It was a leaked confessional that didn't air, and it either aired in the US and it was edited out, but it aired overseas. And of course, we have social media, people screenshot it and put it on TikTok. And it was a confessional where Kyle was saying, yeah, I'm happy that it got out how me and my sister can be, and her yelling, because now people can see like what I've dealt with and how she's mean to me or whatever. So she said she was happy that this whole Kathy Hilton meltdown, whatever date was coming out there. So why would she do that? She got pissed at Dorit, not because Dorit was a neutralist. She got pissed at Dorit because she felt like Dorit was taking Kathy's side by being a neutralist. Like at the reunion, when Dorit said, well, Kathy just wants you to take some accountability, Kyle was like, I don't want you to interject. I don't want you to say anything. And she's like, yeah, I was taken aback because to my face, you are Team Kyle and you talk about Kathy like a dog, the way we all have been talking about Kathy like a dog. But then at the reunion, you want to interject and be like, I need to be accountable in the situation with Kathy. And like Kyle said, she felt Dorit said that because at that point, the collective consciousness of social media was Team Kathy. We're all like, we love Kathy. She's great. Rinna is evil. So is Erica. Bio Kyle, how dare you do this to Kathy? You did it to Kim. So the collective was Team Kathy. So that's why Kyle was like, well, behind closed doors, you agree with me and you're my yes person, but now all of a sudden you want to say that. And I think again, because of this, context always matters. Normally that wouldn't matter and you'd be like, you're being very childish. But given the dynamics between Kyle and Kathy and Kim and their very toxic, dysfunctional, unhealthy trauma situation and everything, it has a different meaning to it. Same thing that happened with Dorit and Kyle at BravoCon with the whole which sister is your favorite. Normally that would be a fun kiki, a joke, but given the context of the dynamics of these women and their situations, I understand why Kyle felt some type of way.
No, that was I can't get sarcasm moment. That was I can't understand sarcasm moment. That was just like
No,
how
no.
Kyle.
Did you see the full clip or only the broken up clip? Did you see the full clip with the shot
Well,
of
so
BravoCon?
what full clip? I saw the clip that was on YouTube of the whole of this situation.
Right.
I mean, but that was, but Kyle's never liked people being sarcastic. She would always get triggered over Lisa Vanderpump. She would always use victim mentality with sarcasm in general. I think, as I've said, both of them have their fake facades. The only difference is that Kyle, unfortunately, but fortunately for her, has this power of being cliquey with every producer on the show, that even the people who owned, I mean, she said on her Instagram live that she's even been on holiday with the people that own the production company. So the thing with Kyle is that, whatever Dorit does, yes, is it yes man behavior and kind of this weird energy, kind of loud look, if you think of just the past in general, with how she flipped to Kyle and Renner's side in season 9, that was pure strategy because, they. I feel that Dorit has her problems where she, I think, for example, with Garcelle, I feel that she came across as uneducated, but I feel that with Kyle, even though the others have had this attitude, but not as deep as Dorit. Dorit's kind of, when she flipped in season 9 to Renner and Kyle, I she went proper deep from having this cool friendship with Lisa Vanderpump to let me be some person who wants to be a narcissist for the sake of fame, like all the others, and that's when she went downhill for me. But I feel that with Kyle, with the Watch What Happens Live situation, I think they both were at odds. But the joke was that Kyle did that to herself. That was self-inflicted. It wasn't done intentionally. I don't think it was done with malice, but alcohol went over Dorit's dress, and Dorit was being sarcastic. And Lisa Vanderpump's sarcasm, every British person in the world would laugh at it. And that Kyle, unfortunately, not in a shady way, but plays that American "I don't like sarcasm" card.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with regardless, even if it was someone else, even if it was Erica that made that judgment, and or Sutton, I feel that she would have gone mad at Sutton or Erica. I don't think that was just personally at Dorit. I feel that because she's got triggered over Lisa Vanderpump for 9 seasons, she has some problem with sarcasm, which I think is very ironic for a child actress. But that's just me being like, I it was nice to see you, Holly. But I think that's the irony with Kyle being a child actress and movie producer. She's just someone who doesn't vibe with sarcasm, but each to their own. But that's my view, because, and even with in the first season with Kim Il, she got triggered over sarcasm, so it runs in her genes. I don't know.
Well, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say, Kyle is just sensitive. We all know this. She's very sensitive, very woe is me, very all of this. And I feel like maybe I think the real issue is like maybe Dory isn't the right messenger because she was an enabler for so long. So I think so.
Exactly. Thank you. That sums up what I've been saying this
Yeah.
whole time. Yes, Kyle has done dirty, vile Kyle, but Dorit is not the one to pay her the penance. Like, I don't know why people are like, oh my God, Dorit. I'm like, Dorit was right there with her doing the dirt.
So
She
it's
was
like right message, wrong messenger.
exactly. She was right there with the full Fox 5. She was right there trying to take down LVP, turned on LVP with that whole situation when LVP was grieving. She's just as dirty as Kyle is. Just as dirty. But then now all of a sudden she wants to act like, oh my God, Kyle's so horrible when you were just as dirty as she was and you had no problem being as dirty and grimy and
I
wicked.
love that impression.
You know what I
do
mean?
that. Do that. Say
I
that again.
can't even
Kyle's so
do it again.
horrible.
I was just like in the moment. I don't even know what I did. You know
that
what I
was
mean?
that was as much as I'm on
You
Dorit's side. As much as I'm on Dorit's side, that was priceless. I can't
know
even.
what I'm
Uh,
saying?
uh, but Candy, I've got a question. Just reflecting a fortnight ago.
Yes, my love.
I want to see if your answer's changed or if it stays the same.
Okay.
Um, Regardless of your opinion on a good old bag of Doritos, whatever you want to call her, um, do
She's
you
dumb,
think
but
in
she's not
do
stupid. Let me
do
put it that
do
way.
you
Go ahead.
do you think in hindsight
What?
it would have been better to keep Rob Minkoff's unique wife over Dorit, or do you think Dorit over Rob Minkoff's unique wife is the better choice? If you are thinking of you're a producer for the show, what is your thoughts on that? Because I want to see if you changed your mind compared to what you told me 2 weeks ago.
I forgot what I said 2 weeks ago, but I currently think it's best that they kept Dorit and let Crystal go, to be honest. Because I think this reckoning or whatever you want to call it between Dorit and Kyle was a long time coming. I think it's been simmering behind the scenes even before we got into it. And I think it's going to bring a lot of, and we're only 3 episodes in, right? So I think that it's going to bring up a lot of other stuff and it's going to call into question a lot of dynamics between people with Kathy, with Erica, with Garcelle, with Sutton, with I think it's going to bring out a lot of stuff that people are going to have to talk about and sort of sort through. I wonder if by the end of the season we're going to feel the same way about Dorit and Kyle. Maybe, maybe not. Because again, we're just in episode 3. I think that with Crystal, I'm not sure that I think she would have been good, but I'm not sure. I think we would be as invested in Crystal's journey, whatever that may look like, than we're invested in Kyle and Dorit because there is a 7-8 year history here of these two women.
Hmm.
And then also they're both going through separations. There's allegations that Dorit was, being sexually inappropriate with Mauricio. I just think that there's so much more interpersonal relationships and conflict and drama to flesh out between Kyle versus Dorit than we would get with anything to do with Crystal. Not that there's anything wrong with Crystal, but in this context, I'm not sure she would
Oh, I
bring
think there's a lot of
that
wrong with Crystal.
Dianism. I know.
I
I
think
don't think
that.
she would bring that Dianism to to the show.
May I answer your question, Adam? I know it's candy, but I want
Yes,
to answer
yeah,
it.
Yeah, of course.
you're not allowed to, of course you
All
can.
right.
Yeah, of course. Please.
So
Yeah.
I like Crystal. I do like Crystal, but I think Crystal had her chance. So that's just me being honest. I think she had her chance. Um, Crystal, she fades in the background. That's just what she does. She fades in the background. She has one good storyline for 3 episodes and then fades in the background. That's she does that every season. Um, so personally, this we would have been talking if Crystal was on the season, right? If Crystal was on this season, because they could
Hmm.
have a 7 housewife show. They could. So
Yes.
if she was on the season, we're gonna be saying we want this to be her last season. So that's just being honest. And my thing is, I don't have a problem with Crystal. I actually like her. I actually like her. When she was on the show, I just was like wanting more for her, and she never gave more than like I said, when she had like her 3 episode feud with Sutton on her first season, and then like her 3 episode feud with Sutton again her second season, and then her and Marie's feud for 5 episodes. So it's just
Oh, the
like,
Anne Marie one was actually her only point she shined to me. The whole thing with Sutton making her out to be a racist was below the belt for me. But
yeah.
but
So I was, but
what
it's
what what
always
do
like,
you like about Crystal actually? I'm just curious.
so what I liked about Crystal is like she kind of was a she was the same person of the Erica situation. Like when Erica was talking all that nonsense in Aspen, Crystal was like, "Get real, like, girl, you sound crazy." And I was like, "Finally," because Garcelle is not going. Garcelle can say it, but you know how they're going to paint her if she does say it. So that just is what it is. So I like Crystal when she was like that. I also like the simple fact of like she gave Sutton a chance when they were trying to get in between their relationship. Like even though they did have that big dark storyline when she first came on there, they got it under wraps, and they were trying to you know pick and poke in the relationship, and they kept all that. Crystal,
Oh
yeah,
my
Crystal
god.
leather pants was also iconic as well.
Oh
I
my
did
god,
like.
that's Miss T, that was priceless. Um
So, so yeah, I like that she was true to herself when it came to her and Sutton relationship, even though cause my thing is also like, even though she said she felt like Sutton said something was dark, she still stood by what she felt. Even though we can believe, like, I don't think what Sutton said was dark with the whole thing. I can see the microaggressions of it. I can see that, but it's just like, I go through this, or is what it is. So it's just like with her, if other people don't see that and that's how she felt, at least she stuck to that and she didn't like
right.
sway. Like everything about Crystal was consistent. It wasn't like she switched up every. She
Oh,
was
I wouldn't
she was a
say that.
consistent character. No, yeah, she was. I feel like she was very consistent. Like she might
I,
not make
I find
sense, but
her
she was
I,
consistent and not making
I
sense.
find her friendship with Sutton to be phony. Personally, I think that Sutton, not that Sutton's a fake with her, but I just don't think what what Crystal says is accurate. I don't think they're the tightest of people. I mean, she said on Jeff Lewis that her and Sutton are super tight. I don't believe that. I just don't. Like, I think if someone was going to make me seem like a racist on national television, I'm not going to be super tight with you. Like, we can make up and we can regain a friendship, but to say that you're besties and super tight, I think that's not. I think Crystal portrays something that's inaccurate when it comes to that. But
But I will say like when it comes to Sutton, I don't think Sutton has a genuine friend on the show other than Garcelle, and then like I don't know anybody else that Sutton is, because Sutton, she with when it comes to Sutton, you could do a lot of stuff with Sutton, and Sutton is still gonna be there. Just look at her and Kyle. Like every season is her and Kyle going back and forth every season. But who's the first person to call Kyle, and who the first person over each other's house? Sutton and Kyle. So that's why I say it's no. I feel like Crystal was like kind of no different.
I mean, Kathy Hilton said she knew of
Yeah,
Sutton before the show.
Oh, I mean, I'm just going based off like the full time cast members. I know she's cool with
But
Kathy though.
yeah.
but I mean, do you not believe that Sutton introduced Bosima to the show and the people, or do you think that's not the case? Because that's
I
how it's portrayed on television.
I think
I,
most of these women don't know each other like that for real. I think they be in the same circles, like they be in like the same parties, the same social settings, like when they go out, hey girl, nice, hey, or whatever. you know I feel like some people who was like earlier seasons, like they know each other. But I think
mhm,
but like later on, I think they like they get women that will be a good fit for the show, that they hung out with maybe like 5 6 times or seen each other out. So that's
mhm.
why I think
Yeah, I think Sutton and Bozema were as close as Kyle and Anna Marie.
it's me. Yeah, I think the same
You
thing.
know what I mean? Like they saw each other at a couple of events and they wanted to bring in a diverse hire And she was
Because
like,
who introduced Garcelle to the show? I don't even think they was close. Was it with Renna? No,
Renner,
Denise. Is Renna?
Denise and Renner, because even though Renner was this toxic
yeah.
person, even though Renner's this toxic person, the three of them knew each other for 20 years.
Yeah, and the whole like actresses stuff. Wait 1 second, guys. So SW says everyone has moments. Sutton might have said something and Crystal made it worse for the show. The thing is, what Crystal alleged Sutton said, in my opinion, wasn't racist and was not a microaggression by any means. Basically, they were either, I think Sutton was telling Crystal a story about how her and her daughter were at like a pool or jacuzzi or something like that, and she was sitting with like either like a black girl or a redheaded girl or something like that.
Yeah.
She said there was she said there was multiple races. There was every race there.
Yeah, just a couple of races there, whatever. And Sutton was saying how it was so nice to see this because either like her growing up, she didn't see it or something like that. Sutton was just saying like, oh, you know, I just sat back and saw my daughter with all these different races and it was nice to see it. That's what Crystal was calling dark.
Yeah.
So, girl.
I kind of
I agree with
what Sutton. I think what Sutton was saying was there was no malice in that at all. I mean,
none.
I mean, we, you know, it's a little different this side of the Atlantic because we're in, you know, in immigration terms and what have you, we're 100 years behind you guys. But like when we, you know, when growing up in London, you know, I've had the privilege to be around diversity of all sorts, race, religion, you name it. But when like you go to the outskirts, you know, their isolation, you know, being a minority, you know, when I went with my school friends on a school trip outside of London, they actually, you know, it was out of their comfort zone because there was no one like them around there. But that kind of is the only step to educate people, is to kind of introduce something brand new and kind of get rid of it.
Yeah, Crystal she just
I
actually like Crystal.
I was gonna jump in right behind y'all.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say because I'm gonna give my personal opinion, and I'm gonna give what I think what Crystal interpreted it as. So my personal opinion is I don't think there was nothing dark about what she said. That's my personal opinion.
Yes.
Period. Point blank. Period. Right. I think Crystal took it as because some people do this, and I want to say some people, you know, my friends do this. A lot of people do this. Some things think like a white savior complex. And I think what Crystal probably was thinking of like a tone deaf thing, and she took it and ran with it. And I don't think that's what Sutton was trying to do. You know, that's what I'm thinking.
I think Crystal was just I get that, but I don't think Crystal even thought that what Sutton said was dark. I think that Crystal was backed in a corner.
Okay.
Because it was the whole like you know, oh, Sutton said, you know, I'm the girl that doesn't see color and blah, 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 blah. And Crystal kind of took that and ran with it. And Garcelle was saying to Crystal, she said, well, I really like Sutton and I'm getting really close to her. Like, what did she say? Because Crystal was like, oh, but there was more. And Garcelle was like, well, what did she say that I need to know? Being like, girl, like, if I'm getting close to this woman and she said something super racist, like, I want to know. And so that's when Crystal was like, oh, it's really dark. And she's like, what did she say? And she like wouldn't say it. I think that Crystal just put her foot in her mouth and she got back in the corner. And that was the only thing she could think about that Sutton had ever said other than I don't see color about race. I just think Crystal got her back against the wall and put her foot.
Because what she said, like what was it called? The hot tub situation.
Yeah.
That was not worse than was not worse than I don't see color. That wasn't. Just clear as that.
And to be honest with you, when Sutton said I don't see color, there was actually nothing wrong with that either, because you have to remember Sutton's like way older than us. And that generation, when somebody said I don't see color, that was their way of being like, I'm not racist.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, that because it's generational.
It's opposites. Yeah, it's opposite.
Yeah, colloquial at that time. Yeah.
Even though it may not be the wisest thing to say if you were our age, but because she thought what
Yeah,
she was saying was
now
the
you would
opposite. Yeah,
exactly.
I hear that 100%.
Yeah, that was her way of being like, "Hey, I'm with you guys." You know,
uh,
that
but
was her way.
uh, slightly off topic, but before I go,
Yeah.
I it would be against the law if we didn't talk about this. But
What?
my favorite show is getting rebooted.
Vanderpump Rules.
Yes. What
As they should. And by the
what
way, not to toot my own horn, but a toot, toot, a toot, a toot. Didn't I say that's what's going to happen? I said this season of Vanderpump Rules, I'm so happy my videos are timestamps on YouTube. Like, go back and find it. I said this is going to be the last season of Vanderpump Rules. I said they will not bring this cast back. And what happened? Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I'm upset, but it will go in a week or two. I'm just upset because like this was my show that I invested all these years in, and this show, like, to me, in some ways was more dynamic than the majority of the Housewives shows in many ways. But we're gonna I mean, you need to help me buck my enthusiasm when it comes to the Valley, but like I I I don't know. Like, look, we're gonna see Lala and Messi Sheena
And Sheena and
uh,
James and Tom Schwartz.
Schwartz on the Valley, because James said he will he hangs out with that group now since Lala and Sheena have introduced him. But do do you believe
Agreed.
that Ariana was the final straw that angered production?
No,
Because this rumor that she wanted double she wanted Lisa Vanderpump's salary for the show is pretty much what she said. Is what
Yeah, her
people have
mind.
discussed. Is that she pretty much said, "I'm worth double whatever the other cast members get. I want Lisa's money." That's
she's
the
bumped her
rumor.
head. I think
That's what the rumor on the street has been, and Lala and Sheena discussed that they think that Ariana basically is the problem.
yeah. I think the show should have ended and probably was going to end on season 9. And I think that Scandival sort of gave it some juice for season 10. It gave it a nice little resuscitation boost, but not enough to bring it back to life as is. So I think that them rebooting it is the right decision, regardless of what Ariana said or didn't say. Do I believe that her head is this big that she thinks she deserves Lisa Vanderpump's money when the show is literally called Vanderpump Rules? I do. And I think that they were smart not to give her that money. Like, I'm tired of Ariana. I was never an Ariana fan, and I'm still not a fan. I felt for her during Scandival, but I also think I didn't drink the Kool-Aid. I didn't. I didn't drink the Ariana Kool-Aid, and I'm kind of tired of her. And I think regardless if she wanted that money or not, they made the right choice by rebooting it. I think all of the people on the show, the stories and the capacity and in the context of Vanderpump Rules had ran its course. I think the friendships had ran their course. I think the storylines had ran their course. I just think that I think the show was over. I think the show was done. And I'm happy to see some new fresh people, some new blood. And I think that is true in entertainment as a whole, when it comes to music, when it comes to scripted TV, when it comes to movies and television shows, reality TV. I think in general, I don't understand why only a handful of people get recycled over and over and over again when this world is so full of so much talent, that I think reboots and refreshing things and getting new people opportunities is always great, especially when you're just beating a dead horse with the current stuff. Like the Valley, to me, I'll give it a go, but I don't think I'm going to be tuning in that much because I don't care anymore.
Well, I was going to rely on you to be my enthusiasm
Hey,
person,
Freddie.
but but I will give it a go. I mean, I hope the trailer impresses me, but we will have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I as I said, I believe the Ariana wanted Lisa Vanderpump's salary,
Mm-hmm.
uh, uh, and I also kind of think, I never had an issue with her. I just wasn't like, oh my god, this cast member's amazing. Like she makes my world glow, or this cast member is the life of the party. I mean,
Yeah.
what you were saying last year, even when the whole season 10 was going on,
Yeah.
um, uh, at the end of the day, before this scandal, she was never an A or A plus player.
No.
She was, and she to me, she was half the time she wasn't really even a B player. She was just a C player at the end of the day.
No, the
And
only reason why the world fell in love with her is because a bunch of insecure people trauma bonded with her because she got played by Tom Sandoval. Like, to be honest, she should be thanking Tom because Tom put
exactly,
her on. Tom is the reason why she's making all this money, getting all these opportunities, buying $1 million houses. She should be grateful to him, to be honest with you, because she wasn't it. She wasn't it.
yeah,
She wasn't it. And people just trauma bonded. And for me, I'm a healthy, healed woman. And so I don't trauma bond with people. So I
yeah,
see her for exactly who she is. The reason why I never liked Ariana was because she was one of those girls who is really nasty to other girls. She was nasty to Lala. She was nasty to Sheena. She was nasty to all those girls. All of them. Thought she was better than all of them. She was never a girl's girl. She said it herself. She was up Tom's butt. She was his little soldier. She had no problem doing that, and she was nasty to everybody. And then the irony is the one girl she wasn't nasty to, which was Rachel, because Tom liked her, so she co-signed her, was the one who was busting it open for her man the entire time. That's the ironic part.
I mean, that really is ironic. I didn't
Yeah.
notice. I didn't notice. Oh, hi, Freddie. I didn't notice you in the comments. But but to me, what? How many cast members for a reboot should there be? Because we saw with the sleeping pill of New York, the sleeping pill of New York, the fake New York has not done it, and and
But is that because of the number of people, or is that because the quality of the
I
people?
think both. I think seven's the magic number with Housewives. I just think
Mhm.
Beverly Hills and Atlanta are a different story. I think they can work with six, but I prefer seven.
Mhm.
I also kind of think what I want is something that is scandalous, but I know we live in this society now, but I don't want a woke life. I mean, I like Selling Sunset, but as soon as Christina went, the show went woke. Uh,
Mm.
like I don't want that to kind of happen. Like the reason why partly, there was the British side. Partly I was invested in Lisa Vanderpump, but the
Mhm.
show that I liked about it was that the tension, the fun, the lifestyles, how they progressed and what they
Yeah.
were, and that was all real. And that was never a facade. That was the reason why people,
Mhm.
and that's why you had these bitter people like Kyle and Renner
Right.
who were saying that Vanderpump Rules was fake storylines, and you had Lala Kent having to check them.
Yep.
Which was how it was. So do you think seven cast members is enough for a reboot?
Um, do you mean for Vanderpump Rules or for a house?
Yes, yes.
I think that
For
they're two different things. Like I think
for
that
for for Vanderpump, like I want it to be like
well
how
for
it was.
Vanderpump Rules, I don't think it's fair to compare it to Housewives because they're two totally separate shows. The concepts are different, the structures are different. So for the Real Housewives, 7 I think is a really good sweet spot number for the Housewives, but that dynamic is totally different, right? Versus Vanderpump Rules, which is a different show, different construct, different storytelling aspect. So I'm not sure I could give a number for Vanderpump Rules. I think what's more important is finding an authentic group of friends and however that shakes out.
It has to work at the place too.
And they have to actually work there too. So I think it's more about authenticity, like a true group of friends truly working there it's apples to oranges. You know, I
Yes.
personally don't compare Vanderpump Rules to Housewives because they're two separate things.
Yeah, I know they're two separate
Brought
things,
together
but
by a housewife just because it's Lisa Vanderpump. But other than that, these are two different shows.
I don't think they're. I think they're apples to oranges. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
how many cast members would you expect for it to be dynamic? And
again, I just think it depends on. I think it depends on finding a good group of friends. It could be 10 friends. It could be 4 friends. I don't think it's so much about the number. I think it's more about the quality. Do you know what I mean? Look at Shaw's of Sunset. Look at like shows that I would compare to Vanderpump Rules would not be Housewives. It's more comparable to Southern Charm. It's more comparable to Summer House. It's more comparable to Shaw's of Sunset, where it's a group where the whole concept is regarding a group of authentic friends coming together and sharing their crazy lives together. So I would look more at those shows.
I'll compare it to Made in Chelsea. I'll compare it to
Made in Chelsea. It's more comparable to that than to a housewife show.
Yes, for 100%. Agree.
Hey.
Yeah. You want to sound off, sweetheart, before we go?
Oh, yes. Well, I agree with the Vanderpump Rules thing. I am upset. I think it did need to change, but I did think that Lala Kent and James Kennedy definitely needed to be there. I wanted to see a sort of a changing of the flag. So, you know, seeing them pass over to the new people, I think that would have been nice for a season. I don't think for Vanderpump Rules they want too many people because we need to have the time to get to know people. But as Adam said, what I would agree is they do sort of need to do it like how Made in Chelsea was in the first few seasons, that it was a group of friends who are actually friends and have known each other for a while.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Hopefully they do that.
I don't think it's like about the number of people. It's the authenticity of their relationships that makes that really is going to make the show.
And my worry is that's not going to happen. I think if you look at reality TV everywhere, these shows just aren't as authentic as they once were. And a lot of them have lost the magic because of that. And I think people are forgetting how important it is.
Yes, including with Made in Chelsea. Made in Chelsea has lost its
definitely.
Magic. Because now you have this. You have Temps, the Steve guy that's beyond.
Yeah, I agree because I think now, unfortunately, with reality TV, they're casting a type. They're casting the persona. Like they're gonna cast the villain girl. They're gonna cast the girl next door. They're gonna cast the number one guy in the group, and they're casting individual people and then trying to put them together to make a show. Sort of like what they did with like Vanderpump Villa, which I actually enjoyed. But you can tell that they're casting for personas rather than finding authentic groups of people who already have those archetypes within them, but they are already organically friends. You know what I mean? So I agree with you.
Yeah. I think Made in Chelsea is so bad they don't even know what they're casting for. It's sort of like going shopping and you're just putting random things in the shopping trolley. But that's my opinion. Anyway, with Beverly Hills, I mean, it was a good episode. I mean, seriously, Kyle was upset with Dorit because she didn't back up the Nat. I mean, I don't know whether I actually believe that's what she's upset about or not. I mean, it's the most ridiculous thing. And then to be upset that Dorit joked that Kathy was the favourite after Kyle basically accidentally threw a drink on Dorit. I don't know if Kyle's got issues and she doesn't understand banter and sarcasm or what her deal is, but it's just weird.
I think Kyle is at her core. I think the real reason why she has issues with Dorit, I think it's the whole Mauricio rumors thing. But Kyle's not going to let her psyche go there. So it's like instead of actually dealing with why I'm mad at you, I'm going to deflect and pick all these other little things instead of actually saying what the real issue is. I think that there were probably issues between Kyle and Dorit for a while, but I think that was sort of like the nail in the coffin with that
Yeah.
situation. But Kyle's not going to admit that's actually why she is icing Dorit out. So instead, she's going to be like, BravoCon, Teddy. But I will say this, and I will die on this hill. If I were Kyle and Dorit did to me what Dorit did to Kyle at BravoCon with the whole shot and whose sister do you like the most, I would feel the same way that Kyle does. Maybe it's because I have 4 sisters and I know what it feels like to be estranged from one, really good with one, not this, not that, all of those dynamics that Kyle, Kim, and Kathy have. And I think in context of that situation, having what is pretending to be my best friend sort of shove that in my face, when Andy's like, which sister, what Kyle, like, which Richard sisters do you like the most from the most to the least? And Dorit kind of looks like, I don't know, and goes to take a shot. If that was my best friend, and she knows that me and my sisters have such a contentious history in front of all of these people, and she does that to me, I'm checking her too. Because Dorit is dumb, but she's not stupid. I'm checking her too because context and history matters. Dorit knew exactly what she was doing. Because the truth is, Dorit does like Kathy more than she likes Kyle because Dorit doesn't like Kyle. That's the truth. She's being honest. And even Erica said it this episode. It was either this episode or the other one when Kyle was talking about it and Erica looked at her and she goes, "You were embarrassed." And she was like, "Yeah, I was embarrassed." Because that is embarrassing. We know the history between Kathy, Kyle, and Kim. And it's not a pretty one. And for Dorit to kind of side-eye her that, we can talk about sarcasm, dry humor all day long. There's a time and a place. And within the context and the history and the contentiousness of their family dynamic, and you're trying to act like you're my best friend, and you play me like that, come on. Dorit's dumb, but she's not stupid. She knew what she was doing. I would have felt some type of way if I was Kyle too. 100%. That's just how I felt about it, but maybe that's just me. Exactly.
Yeah, no, sorry, I'm back.
And I never got or felt that. Exactly.
I mean, to me, I think people, I see what you're saying, but I think Dorit was, I get it because it's very British type humor of what she did. It was like, oh, you spilled a drink on.
Dorit actually is from Connecticut. She's not British.
Yeah, I know Dorit's not British. I know that, but I think in England, if that had happened, we would have more seen that as a joke. Like if Adam did that to me, I would have seen that as a joke, going, "Oh, your other brother's my favorite."
In context, though, and given Kyle's personality, like that's what I'm saying. I think in general, yes, I think what she was doing was a little tongue in cheek and it would be funny. But I think that we cannot ignore Kyle's personality and the context of what was going on, because that is what makes it hurtful. It's like you could say one thing to one person and the same exact thing to somebody else, but given the history and the context and the personality, it could be received completely differently. And I'm like, I don't know why people are pretending like they don't know the dynamic and the history of all of these women and all of their personalities.
But do you think, given Kyle's history though with Lisa Vanderpump's sarcasm getting triggered in 5 seconds, that it would have?
I think Adam, I absolutely love you, but I also think that we can't compare every single thing to Lisa Vanderpump.
But the point is, I think she will get triggered with anyone.
Marshall says, "Who's breathing so hard?" Yeah, who is breathing hard?
Yeah, someone was ASMR, and I don't know what.
Yeah, crunchy.
But yeah, Fred, in case you missed it, Candy's Team Kyle.
Sorry.
Candy's Team Kyle.
Oh yeah, no, I knew she was Team Kyle on. I mean, I'm just fed up of
on this
Kyle.
one
She is not honest. She's got way too many emotional issues, and I think this is one of the reasons why Mauricio does not want to be with her anymore. He's fed up of her behavior, and he doesn't have to have it from a young chick that wants to, sit on his face 20 times a day. He's bored, and enough's enough. And I think he feels Kyle's put him through the ringer, and he's ready to move on. And she, I think, has realised what she's done. Her midlife crisis is over, and she's sort of hoping that, he'll come back. But I think he's done. I think he's checked out. And this is
Yeah,
why
I
she's
think
acting up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get all that you guys are saying. I totally get it, but I just think that I think Dorit is dumb, not stupid. She knew doing that little side eye would kill Kyle.
I agree with Miss T's comment. Oh no.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair, what Miss T is
100%.
saying.
100%. Dorit is
And-
reaching because she wants to keep her diamond. Kyle is reaching because she's pissed about the Mauricio rumors.
Look, I mean, I don't like either of them. I've had issues with both of them, though. It's not, it's not like these are either two people I want to be friends with. But, yeah, I mean, if I was forced to have to like one of them more, it would be Dorit. More or less. But I'll tell you what my other question was what do we think Tom did that was so mean to Erica and it was so bad that she can't say it?
Not a damn thing. She was lying through her fake teeth. Tom didn't do jack to Erica.
I mean, because she
lying.
claimed that he had dementia and didn't know where he was going, and he flipped his car 55 times or whatever. So how can he be so mean when he doesn't even know what day of the week it is? That's the bit I don't get.
The only thing Tom Girardi did was fund her entire life and her fake career. He didn't do jack to her. Her whole, he was so mean, he did this, he was cheating. I think all of that is just a bunch of garbaggio, and it's an excuse that they used for when he got, when they knew that he could be indicted.
Yeah, because I mean, I just don't believe.
Exactly.
I mean, he definitely wasn't getting younger women than Erica, I don't believe.
And also, if he was so mean to her, then how come she exposed that she was still talking to him every single day? If he was so mean to her, then why did he get his
exactly? And she did admit that.
She admitted that. And then if he was so mean to her, why did he get his crony friend to get her the $500K Wells Fargo account? So he got her at least $500,000, because if that's what we know, imagine what we don't know. If he was so mean to her, then how come when he actually got indicted, she went and picked up a big bottle of vodka and went to his facility to, lick their wounds together? So you're commiserating with him because he's going through a tough time. You're going to be there to support him. He made sure you had at least $500,000 that we know about. You're still talking to this man every single day. So how mean was he to you, really? You're in a multi-million-dollar house. You just bought a Porsche. You still have your glam squad. You're doing a Vegas that you probably had to pay for. You still have designer jewelry and clothes and handbags and everything else. What exactly is the problem?
Oh, woe is me. I can't live in a £7.5 million dollar property. I only live in a £10,000 a month, $10,000 a month house that's still got a pool. And I mean, to be showing a brand new Porsche as well when you've got two criminal trials against you for fraud is not a good look. And there's not and the fact is, particularly as a jury probably will know who you are. You know,
Oh,
everyone's gonna, you know, it's being talked about everywhere. So it's just not a good look for her to if she's trying to look like the innocent victim.
yep. Because she's not. She was complicit. She was in cahoots, and she benefited, and then she still wanted to benefit from it. Ridiculous.
And she could well still be benefiting in other ways that we don't know the full details of yet.
If she had a $500,000 slush fund, imagine how many other slush funds she has that we don't know about.
I mean, I think Tom did something for Jim Wilkes, whether that was helping
Yep.
him get up the legal ladder and get all these decorated awards. You know, I think Tom said, look, I've done this for you. You need to move my money around and really hide it for me, so because this is going to unfold soon.
The
He knew
little
exactly what
fraudulent cronies.
Yeah, and you know, Tom, he knows what he's doing. I mean, he called up Ronald Richards pretending, oh, I don't know why I've called you, and oh, so what's happening, and this type of thing. And Tom admitted on that call that he spoke to Erica just the day before he called up Ronald Richards, I think 2 years ago. So he knows what he's doing. I mean, there's no doubt. And this is exactly how the court proved that, Tom is fit to stand trial. He's
Yep.
I mean, clearly he's taken acting classes somewhere as well.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, let's do final thoughts. So we'll start with Adam, then Johnny, then Freddie.
Cool.
Okay. I'm glad that we can agree to disagree, unlike Kyle and Dorit.
Always agree to disagree. No problem.
I would say so far I like Sutton's energy, and I want to hear more kind of surprises. As I said, I am just a little disappointed that the way that the trailer portrayed her, that we're seeing all the parts of the trailer already, that she featured her kind of unlike it being spaced out. But I'm sure we'll get some decent surprises. I think, as you said, as here we agree fairly with Bosima, there's no affirmative, definite kind of opinion. You know, this is still fresh days, and she hasn't done something stupid like Rob Minkoff's Unique Wife. This is dark and all this stuff. She's kind of just playing it as it is. But I think there's more to come. Yeah, I want to be proven wrong about Jennifer Tilly, but she just comes across as this weirdo energy, and I want to to me she's an odd bod. Candy, I know you said you're going to try and prove me wrong. I look forward to that. Yeah, just remember though, off topic with Married to Medicine, Heavenly's the MVP.
Adam, those are fighting words, man. All right. Hey, Johnny, you want to go? And thank you, Misty.
Okay, so I don't have any final thoughts. I just want to say my birthday is tomorrow again.
Yay, happy
Wait,
birthday!
happy birthday for tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
You're going to be 27.
Yes!
Oh, you're a
Magical
year older
year.
than me.
Yeah, so that's all I got to say. I did want to, since it's about to be closing down, I just want to ask this to Candy. I did want to ask the whole panel, but I want to ask Candy this. That
Yeah.
means the Salt Lake City reunion is tomorrow. Who do you think is going to be first chair? You don't have to explain why it's a short, but
Wait, the reunion is tomorrow?
it's tomorrow. That I'll
They're
make
going to be
sure.
filming it, aren't they?
Yes, they
No,
filming
Yeah.
it tomorrow.
they're
They're
filming it tomorrow. Oh, they haven't
Yes.
released the chart yet?
No, so I was wondering
No,
who do
because
you
I
think is
think
going
they
to be
start
next
the
to
filming
Andy?
tomorrow.
Oh,
So the
oof.
chart would be tomorrow. Okay, effectively.
I really hope they don't do Bronwyn. I can't stand her. I really cannot stand her. I don't know. Maybe Lisa Barlow Whitney?
Oh God, not Whitney. God, she can just be X.
Um,
She can be under N.
Yeah, you don't have to explain why, because we can get into it tomorrow
we'll
if
get
you're going to
into
be
it.
live
Yeah, we'll get
tomorrow.
into it tomorrow because we're gonna go live tomorrow. But like,
I personally
It will
think it's going to be
definitely
Mary
be
and
Lisa
Lisa,
Barlow,
but
the
that's it.
MVP.
oh, it could be Mary and Lisa. It could be Mary and Lisa. Yeah. Yeah. I can't stand Bronwyn, but we'll get it. I'll light her up tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll get into it tomorrow on my birthday.
Yes, birthday,
Yay.
Great.
Mwah.
Nice.
Go, Freddie.
No. Okay, so what do I have to say on this? I mean, I'm enjoying this season so far. I would have liked to have seen 7 housewives, and that 7th housewife would have been Camille Grammer. I think Evolution need to get over themselves and accept that the majority of viewers want Camille back, and that she bonds with a lot more of these ladies that are on the show, and it makes now is the right time more than ever, I think. So that would have been a perfect thing. Bose I'm liking, but apparently she's really funny because I had a friend that worked at Netflix that met her, so I want to see more of this funniness I've been told about. So that would be cool. Yeah, I think probably to me the 2 people that are bringing the most so far that I'm enjoying watching the most is Sutton, and I hate to say it, Erica. I mean, yes, she's a crook, but do I think she makes good TV? Yes. I mean, obviously, we love Kathy's kookiness, and Jennifer. I mean, I don't know. We'll see about her, but it's just, to me, it's like watching Monsters Inc. again, because she's the receptionist in Monsters Inc. So that was weird, but yeah. So yeah, we'll see, but I'm enjoying it, which is the most important thing. And as for Married to Medicine, Simone is a snake.
A deep snake. I co-sign that 1,000%. An evil, bitter, resentful snake. Nasty, evil woman. Ugh.
And Heavenly's the realist. Yes, we know.
Adam, don't make me shake my head.
But most people who are anti-Heavenly are usually pro Simone, so that's
Yeah.
interesting that you're an anti-Heavenly and anti-Simone.
I'm anti-Simone. I'm anti-Dr. Jackie. I'm anti-Dr. Heavenly. I think all 3 of them are bitter, Betty, resentful, nasty, whole of a heart women.
And I love
So
Quad.
that is all there. Quad, I think, is just a narcissistic social climbing mess. But there's not an evilness to her.
I think with
You know what
Quad,
I mean?
like with I mean, but Simone, she's so insensitive, going, oh, but she's not like with the days when she was Greg. I mean, if the rumors about what Greg did are true, like, of course she's not going to be the same person, and that is going to probably emotionally damage you a bit.
100%.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note,
Yes,
I'm gonna go and hopefully catch you tomorrow.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll be going live for Salt Lake City.
Can't wait.
Alright.
So bring your snowflakes.
Speak soon. Night.
See you.
Love
Bye.
you. Bye. Shout out to my amazing panel. Thank you so much, Johnny. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Freddie. Thank you, Holly. And thank you. Who else came up? Did I miss someone who else came up? I think I got everybody. I hope I did. If I didn't, I am sorry. Happy birthday, Johnny, for tomorrow. Mwah, we love you. We love you. We love you. And shout out to everybody in the chat box. Shout out to SW, to Holly, to Miss T, my mod, holding me down, give me shelter. Hey, Tian, welcome. Shout out to Marshall. Let me see who else was up in here chit-chatting. SW, what is up? Emmanuel, that's right, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for coming up. Barbara, what is up? Mademoiselle, everybody. If I missed you, I apologize. Whoops. If I missed you, I apologize. But with that, you guys, I love you so, so much. Everybody be safe. Take care of yourself. Be sure to like, subscribe, and also share. Sharing this is a free way to support me, support the channel, and I would really, really appreciate it. So thank you guys. I love you and have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.